They, they say it's in the air. It's everywhere. Ooh, baby, I'm losing you. Someone there's taking my place. Ooh, baby, I'm losing you. Wind me up. I'll dance, I'll sing, I'll play for you. I'm a boogie woogie, baby. If you want to see me boogie, all you got to do is wind me up. You've got to wind me up. Wind me up. Huh. Well, you know how I do it. Let's get funky with it. Do what you want to. Do it, everyone. Do what you want to. Let's have some fun. Do what you want to. Do it, everyone. Do what you want to. Let's have some fun. Outstanding. Thank you very much. Outstanding. Thank you very much. Oh, say it. Okay. The power of blue argonite. The power of blue argonite. The power of blue argonite. Here's the blue argonite in the skull, baby. Carolina blue. You've got a real type of thing going down, getting down. There's a whole lot of rhythm going round. You've got a real type of thing going down, getting down. There's a whole lot of rhythm going round. We want the funk, gotta have that funk. We need the funk, gotta have that funk. We want the funk, gotta have that funk. We need the funk, gotta have that funk. La da 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 da, dee 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 da. We gonna turn this mother out. Ah. Motherfucker said I should listen to myself to see how I'm sounding. Shit, I know the shit sounds terrible, so what does it make a difference? I don't like this headphone shit, but I'll do it. So, what's happening? If you never watched this show, I am Big Pontiac. I am the holder of the sacred infinite ball game that was created in the Americas by the Hero Twins. I am also your one and only galactic daddy-o, sitting on top of the Chocolate Mountain on my galactic patio, welcoming each and every one of the Chocolate Mountaineers from Minnesota to the universe. Thank you for joining me. PJ Allen, what is happening, my man? And 100 million grand. Lobo, how you doing? What's happening? What's happening? Splash. Harper shot. Oh shit. They gave him, and it was like in 2 minutes, he made 2 threes and a layup. Or 2 free throws. Sudix took one. Hey, that's all right. I'll say this, they gave 3.5. They didn't cover tonight, but again, that don't really hurt my bet because one of my bets, so I lost out of them winning sweeping, which is okay because my other bet, which I put more money in, is in 4. So I'm still to play. Oh, and tonight's favorite brew comes from Boulder Beer. I bought this 12-pack and I'm about to go get another case tomorrow because these motherfuckers are so good that I just smash them. So, okay. That was interesting, the way the shit moves. So, you can't see because I'm drinking out of, this is called Larceny Bourbon Cup, which you don't have and I do have. And this is a steel cup because, in summertime when you go outside, you don't want to break glass, but you can still see that amber goodness that you're not having and I am. You can still see it and you can still taste it and you can smell it and you can see these carbonated bubbles and you just wish that you were me, don't you? You just wish you were me having this beautiful goodness. And even though I am on edibles out, I am still pushing the unicorn Luca. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It lit up. Then you just hold it like this, and it lights up like that for you. And I blow big stacks with it. I blow big stacks. I say Warriors 4-1. I'm definitely thinking that's 4-1 because you're giving up 3.5 a game, So this was the game they took. Hey, Brother James, I'm not mad about it tonight. Y'all saw it. Y'all saw it tonight. Rico, my nigga Pontiac on that good. Oh, definitely. I saw magnetic black stuff with white screws, like the ball's always with it. Let me say this too. You saw the first half. I'll tell you a pivotal point of the game. A pivotal point of the game is Steph in the early fourth quarter. Steph fired up a 3 and clunked it. And then the next time down, they came down. Remember, Wiggins was on the reverse side of the camera. Wiggins was on the bench side of the camera, and they passed it around. They passed it to Wiggins. He hesitated, and then he shot it, but it clicked. And you can see, all in the first half, Steph couldn't miss. Second half, he only had 34, which is only. But you saw what they was trying to do in the second half. Hartford all of a sudden. I don't know if y'all noticed this. Lobo might have noticed this. Did y'all notice how huffing and puffing Hartford was in the first half? Did anybody notice that? How Hartford was huffing and puffing in the second quarter? And they had to take him out. Did y'all notice that? Huffing and puffing, tired in the first half because the pace was too quick. And you notice they slowed the pace down. He's able to hit shots because he wasn't huffing and puffing. I don't know if y'all noticed that. That was the take I got in the first half. I was like, damn, Hartford ain't keeping up. The game is really too quick for him. And then look what they did in the second half. They adopted, slowed the game down so the fella would have the energy in the fourth quarter to hit. Because the way the game was going, I don't know if y'all noticed that. Smart shot. Oh, yeah. You've always got to. Yeah, the Magnus was ringing, no doubt. Maintaining my yeah, I peeped that. Did you peep that out? How he wasn't keeping up in the first half. So you explained the difference to me, how a person that can't keep up, all of a sudden he's not tired in the fourth quarter. Come on. you wouldn't be as fresh. And they like these runs. What was it, a 17-0 run? They like these kind of runs. It's going crazy now. It's probably good camera effects and shit. They like those 17-0 runs, them kind of runs they do. Thank you, Smoke. I needed it. So it looked like the same kind of what do they call it? Bucktooth Billy bullshit. Oh, and I figured out, these is acid. They call them blondies. And I was just thinking, Clint Eastwood, if you watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I would say The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is probably arguably one of the best Westerns of all time. Spaghetti Western shot in Italy. Shane is another one, but in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood, a fistful of dollars, he chews little ones like this. He smokes them and chews them. I was like, that's why they call it, because his name is Blondie in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Outscored Boston 24 to, yeah, I heard that. 24 to, yep. I remember them saying that. Curry had Magnus in the first quarter. Exactly. Yep. 24, Kobe. Yep. Smoke effects. Looks like the camera smoking. That's cool. Yeah, 24. Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that stat too. So we see the way they had to fix it, because I'll say this, Boston did look in trouble. Boston looked slower. The hockey game, Avalanche won 4-0. Actually, they scored 3 goals in the second period, because that game came on first. Yeah, I don't think they scored in the first period. I watched almost all the first period. Second period, from going back and forth to the game, I noticed that the Avalanche had scored 3. So they end up 4-0. So I made a little bit on that. But I'm not, I really, if they lose Sunday, then that'll throw me off. But I'm pretty sure Golden State will win Sunday. And remember, one thing on weaker teams being in the finals with a stronger team is like what they did with Iverson. When the only game that Philadelphia could have won was the first game. And remember, Shaq and Kobe swept them the next 4. So that's what I think we're looking at. Tatum is 24. Celtics down 12 in the fourth and win by 13. Exactly, 12. I peeped. They showed Tatum when they mentioned that 24. Yep, I think yes. Clint Eastwood used to be a mayor in California. Carmelo will be the Celtics' 24th postseason. Game 6 will be their 24th. Oh, good point. Boston got this series in 6. Al Horford 42. Sam Jones ritual. I still say Warriors in 5. Is that they rock it with? Curry loses every 3 years. 16, 19, and 22. Weird. Down by 12, win by 13. Exactly. Almost an impossibility. It's almost impossible to come back in pro games. If you go to enough live games during the season, large leads is almost impossible to come back unless it's some bullshit in there. Oh, let me show you about this too. What's unique about this jersey, this throwback, the Cubans. This is the zip up. Very rare. This is a zip up jersey. So apparently they had zip ups in 1947. Who would have thought? So this is the one with the hat. This is the 1947 jersey. Got the East on that side. Nothing on that side. But wool. So had them both cleaned. I've had these for 15 years since summer of 07, somewhere in there. So enjoying the gear, because this time last year couldn't have worn no shit like this at night. It was too hot. This is gonna be one of them cool summers. Warriors not winning. Okay. I want to call out Hartford. Like the one I put on there about number 7-3, whatever the player is that played for San Antonio. And now he's the dude that had the weird cut. And, he's wearing that headband because that afro is going backwards a little bit. But you see the agenda. He was the scoring in the third quarter. He was the scoring and the energy in the third quarter. That's why, and the beginning of the fourth quarter. You see how the others aren't doing as much, so they highlight the lesser-known players. Again, as I said, Hartford was struggling. He struggled in the first quarter. He could not keep up with the pace, and then he becomes a hero. Within 3 minutes, he scores 8 points, 2 threes, and a couple free throws, and he hit a short shot. He hit a layup or something, didn't he? Not believable. It's not believable. Yeah, Derek White played with San Antonio. Yes, absolutely. And you saw this is supposedly Iggy's last year in the league. Could be him going out on top. He should have been gone. Yeah, Derek White. Yep, Derek White. That's his name. But remember what I said about that player, number 31 for the Heat, was the same. You see the same agenda. They raised these lesser players up to be a critical thing, a critical point in the game. So he was bringing the offense. If you really break down what they did with Boston, in the first half, they let Brown kind of get open. He had a couple of nice dunks, couple drive-bys, but they was down. But that's who they highlighted. And then this White dude, they highlighted him in the third quarter and the early fourth quarter. And then they let Horford. So you see how they scripted as this movie. You see it. There's no way Horford, if they would have kept the pressure up and made him guard. Look at the way they even slowed down the offense for the Warriors. They wasn't doing multiple screens and multiple sets for Steph. They was just moving the ball around the top of the key. Like the example I gave a few minutes ago. They were just moving the ball around the top of the key. They weren't moving the multiple set plays where everybody's chasing. They slowed down the game so Horford could compete and not wear him out. It should be them. Yeah, Matt. Yep. Matthew Dellavedova. Exactly. This is how they choose these role players. That I call it the Scott Jensen. You know, Scott Jensen being a factor in the national championship game, hitting 7 threes. It's not believable. Villanova as a team shooting 70%. Jensen shooting 70%. It's not believable. Michael Jordan, who was always a mid-range shooter, all of a sudden he making 7. And he even showed the mocking by like, hey, this ain't me. Michael Jordan at least said, this ain't me. Because he knew it was on for him. On my other channel, I broke that down, several of his shots during that period when they was putting it on, you know, the Love Me Michael Jordan special, the ESPN put out there. Hate everybody else, but love Michael Jordan. Well, Scotty shouldn't have had surgery during the season. He shouldn't have been a businessman during the season. And then you got Jerry Reinsdorf. Well, I told him that he shouldn't have signed the contract. We put that $1.9 million out there and $800,000 for so many years. And I said, Scotty, you shouldn't sign it. Somebody was telling him to sign it. Somebody was getting his agent to sign it, and Scotty. So, you know, these motherfuckers come back and lie. And I caught that And One mixtape. I never was impressed with that. Now, when you watch the And One mixtape, you got to think of what was they competing with. What was they competing with? They was competing with the summer pro-am leagues. They was competing with that, and they was competing with the Gus Macker 3-on-3. And I would say the Gus Macker was more popular than that shit. Gus Macker's still going on. That shit's been dead. So that's what that stuff was competing with. They came to Michigan and they played one of our summer league teams, and they got pounded. They kept my high school, Kalamazoo Central High School. They got pounded. Yeah, they couldn't do the tricks because they had to play. So it was interesting. But they was cool about it. You know, dudes came to, you know, they asked for the best. They got the best. It is funny when you see people, they can't do tricks. They can't do tricks and just got a hoop is interesting. They got exposed. So, you know, I don't remember seeing Booker in it. Maybe I did, though. Maybe I did see Booker. I don't know. Tatum not having a bad game again. Derek White ended a 9-game winning streak. Yes, he did. Max Struss, they took off point shaving. Okay. He was a assistant coach for the Warriors. Oh, that's did you guys um did you guys hear about Idaho State? Idaho State's assistant coach killed somebody back in 17. Apparently he was shooting at somebody else in a drive-by and hit and killed a woman. I don't know if y'all caught that, but cat got arrested. He got arrested in May. I don't know if y'all, but he was coaching college, you know. So that gang banging shit. I don't know. Saduskas both out after Trey Burke went down national championship. Balling out after Trey Burke went down. Hey, Sean, thank you for joining us from down under. How's things down there? What you think about Strasser's 3 taking off? Was that on the layup? Hey, Sherilita, thank you for joining me. LeBron is officially a billionaire. Okay, they said Dre was too, and they said what's his name was Kanye. So what is that to us? Well, what did I say the new saying is? What does that mean to me? LeBron being a billionaire. What does that mean to me? What does that mean to you, LeBron being a billionaire? When you lay in bed, you wake up in the morning, do you think, well, goddamn, this is a good day because LeBron is a billionaire? What does that mean to me? You know? Hey, Lorenzo, thank you for joining. I saw that, and I live in Norfolk, Harlem Globetrotters. Dr. Sinister, what's happening? And the NBA is definitely fixed. It is definitely fixed. It is definitely fixed. So, you know, and that's how we got to look at it. What does the shit mean to me? Fuck LeBron, you know. And I used to be such a diehard. I just loved, loved when Magic was hooping, and just a couple years older. I mean, it was other cats. I think Walker D. Russell was on the Piston teams. He ain't played, but he was on the Piston teams. And I don't know if y'all remember, his brother was it was Campy Russell that also played for. Well, Campy played for Michigan. I want to say he was around my cousin Kevin's age. Ricky, he was older, so that cat's got to be in his 70s now, a little older maybe. But two brothers that played, but Walker D. Walker D was playing for Western. Yeah, I remember he tried to come to the park. I was playing football then. I gave Walker D all he could handle. He couldn't jump, wasn't quick, thicker guy, about 6'2", dribbled way too much. Like just dribble, and you just stand there looking at this dude who wasn't quick, wasn't really strong, and you would just wait for him to do all the dribbling, and by the time the move came, it was easy to block his shit. It was like, okay, dribble. You can't really jump, so when you gonna shoot it so I can block it? Where's the magnets? The magnets is in the back. NBA not letting Curry tie LeBron. I think they are. Researcher says, how you doing, research? Type of season at UNC up in the championship game, but lose second half. Also, Boston coach wearing masks like Roy Williams. Like somebody else was saying that. Maybe it was PJ, but where they wear it and they take it off, then they're in the interviews where they're still trying to keep that psyop going. They're told to wear that shit. I got Golden State next game, but Boston winning 4-2. Curry will end with 4-2 in the finals. Think about Herbert Davis script. I'm still saying they're going to win 4-1. So still saying 4-1, not going off that. And that's where the most money is on that. We'll see. We'll see, researcher. I see your point, though. NBA not letting Curry win. I don't know about that. Sean, who cares who's rich? Another distraction from being true selves. Exactly. You worry about your motherfucking self. What did James Brown say? I got mine, and he's got his. You know what? That's what James Brown say. I got mine, and he's got his. That fits me perfectly. I don't give a fuck what you got. It don't make me feel one way or the other. My best friend, He's seen my up and downs of living. He's still been my best friend. We both lived in the hood of Minneapolis, around the corner from each other at one point. We was both able to move out of that area, you know. He's visited me when I've had really big houses. He's visited me when I've had humble houses. So he's been my friend thick and thin. So that's how you got to be. You joyful from your friends as they move up. That's how I look at it. Whoa. He does drive-by shooting and still a coach. Oh, yeah, Lorenzo, you didn't hear about that? Yeah. Dude did a drive-by in 2017. And apparently he got his gang banging out of him and was been coaching and just got hired in January. So he been getting paid. You know, they took him on in January, physical year. And, you know, motherfuckers will tell on you. You do shit like that, motherfuckers will tell on you. So I just realized the Brooklyn Dodgers won like 6 pennants in a row in the 50s. They won 6 pennants in a row in the 50s and only win once. Yeah, they only won in, see, Jackie Robinson came in 47, 55. You guys might have to look that up. They won in 55, 56, or 57. Like, not only that, I mean, Roy Campanella was like MVP. Like, Roy Campanella is a really interesting dude that got really done bogus, but shit. Them years that they was winning the pennant, look up Roy Campanella. He was MVP of the league. I think the year they finally came over the top and won the World Series, Roy Campanella was MVP of the league, too. He was like MVP of the league. And before he got paralyzed, 2 or 3 years running, he was the baddest thing in baseball. You know, a lot of people hear about Yogi Berra, but shit, Roy Campanella was the shit. I want the Celtics to win, but I'm betting on the Warriors. Yeah, my money's on them. I'm not really shrugging. I don't count in other niggas' pockets. There you go, pocket watching. Ain't that the brother said? Pocket watching. You're pocket watching. Yeah. 1955. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Dread, thank you for joining. Yeah, CWE. Look up Roy Campanella's shit. Roy Campanella, he was interesting. You know, he was Jewish faith too. He was a brother in Jewish faith. I think his mother was Jewish faith. In Brooklyn, they used to call the Dodgers the Brooklyn Losers. Yeah, the lovable losers. That's where that comes from. They kind of called the Red Sox, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and the Cubs the lovable losers. Woke, why do you always have winning the series? I still got Golden State. I got Golden State. You know, everybody knows my original position. Hey, Jody, thank you. I'm wonderful. I enjoyed your live earlier. The Magnus in the back. Yeah, drawn to the back. But yeah, Jody had a real good live earlier. So subscribe to Jody, subscribe to Lobo, all the content creators. We all got something to say. We all got something to say that's worth listening to. Because we bring in another perspective. And in how to be the best you, all the, you know, you use your discernment, but you know, there's people that kind of be out there trying to show you how to be groovy, baby. You know, how to be groovy with it. oh yeah, and Hartford made a best ever 6 threes. So he hits 2 crucial threes in the fourth quarter. A dude who huffing and puffing in the first half to get up and down. But all of a sudden, he hits his career high in threes. You know, yeah. So, now Boston. Didn't they show Boston won in '68? Boston won over the Warriors, San Francisco Warriors in '68. Isn't that what they showed? I think it was. Yeah. So. Pay attention. I make videos on NBA being fixed. Good. Keep making them. Keep making them. You're welcome, Jody. Warriors take a 10-point lead each half, end up losing. Exactly. As people were saying, it was up by 12 and lose by 13. Makes no good. That makes no sense. Makes no sense. Lovely day here. Was gonna play pickleball, but didn't make it. Went out there and it was super windy. I was looking at the wind breaks on the courts. It settled down, but by then I came out, went in my front lawn, front of the building, and drank a couple beers. So yeah, he definitely had the Magnus on at some point. Yeah, Boston won 4-1. Yeah, yeah. Wasn't that was Chamberlain's? That was the only year I think Chamberlain played with Thurman. Yeah, I think that was the only year they played with Thurman. Chamberlain and Thurman played together, I think. Because I know when Chamberlain won it in 67, 68. Yeah. When he won it in 60, or is it 66, 67? Yeah, Chamberlain won it in 66, 67 with the Warriors. Then the Warriors moved. Yeah. I don't remember what it was from, but I saw a Steph Curry video package from some sports company, and the song they played was called Hall of Famer from a band called The Script. Ah, wow. Good share. Thank you, Young Weezer. Good share. Wow. Never heard that before. It doesn't surprise me though. The mocking is always there. That don't go away. Curry winning MVP. I would say so. I mean, look at Wiggins. Wiggins didn't do anything. Actually, Green didn't play bad. They was beating they shit. They was beating Boston shit in the first half. So Green didn't play bad. Green still does what Magic did. I mean, he really does. He pushes the ball up. He pushes the ball up with quickness. I mean, beating people down court. Now, he's not a great finisher, but far as pushing up, like rebounding or getting that first pass and pushing up with pace, Green's pretty efficient at that. I don't know if people notice that. And then, you got a cat 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", that's matching up with 6'10", 6'11", and strong enough to play D on their ass. So they're all right. Smart is made by the system. Of course he is. I look at the shooting and other distraction. It's the same script, different actors. That's absolutely right. Yep. Hey, Mr. Lambie, get his leg lock. As I said before, one thing I learned from the traveling refs, and I've said this many times from coaching, and I know what I say in the beginning of being the holder of this spiritual side, and the only one really looking at it from the spiritual side. I mean, I go to courts and I take the incense, and I take the sage, and I when I have a lot of heavy stuff on me. Same way, some of the times when I was the most stressed, I was happy I could go hoop. It was like everything around me would be falling apart, but I could go hoop. I still had that. It was like nothing, no one could take it from me. No matter what kind of car I left in, no matter what I had looking when I was going home, I could still hoop and still feel confident about what I'm doing and in shape and could compete with anybody at a given age. So it was a great continuation from me. It was something that always kept my confidence great in me. When life was like beating me from every direction, I could still go to the hoop and get solace. Feel like a man again. No matter how bad the system tried to beat me, it was a place I could go to build myself back up. And that's what it's supposed to be. And we don't have that. We have a corruption of it. And so, I pointed out, hey, Conspiracy is another content creator that you guys should subscribe to. Jaylen Brown, when he is guarded by a real defender, he sucks. He's a step slower since his injuries. Amp. Thanks, Amp. Facts hooping is peaceful as hell. Yeah, you make money on YouTube. You can make money on YouTube, but yeah, it's a great escape. I mean, a lot of people don't look at it as a great escape. Listening to the Brothers and Craig facts, it was dudes like guys saying that they really wasn't that great, but they could still play competitively, and they still played a lot in their 20s and 30s. As I've said before, you know, they took away telling people that playing in winter leagues and summer leagues is pro ball. Because pro ball is if you pay for the gym and you pay the refs. That's pro ball. What is interesting is more people, when they play a lesser type of football, call it semi-pro. Semi-pro, a lot of semi-pro football is even lesser and not as put together as most of the basketball leagues that I looked at, especially back when I was in football playing shape. It was far lesser, some of the stuff I saw. Now, after my dreams died and I had to play for the Carolina Storm, we made decent money, but we had a nice stadium. We filled the college. Well, we was getting about 7,000-8,000 fans. You know, we was filling up where Johnson C. Smith played, that stadium down in Charlotte. So we was decent, but there was less than that. There was less leagues than that. Yes, it is a sanctuary. Yes, they get our people emotional, wanting justice. Justice for police gunning down, then show what we did get gunned to justify the shooting. Well, yeah. No, I'm not Muslim. No, but assalamu alaikum if you need it. Conspiracy. I don't know about this whole Jaylen Brown sucks opinion. I put money that we hoop 5 against 5. He was the floor with everyone. I'm no slouch either, but he got pure skills, my opinion. I think he's lost a step, but no, he was the one that was the force in the first half. He was the one that they was letting push in the first half. If you see who was keeping them competitive, it was him. He had several nice moves. I mean, he's not as quick. I mean, he was like, well, watching how Tony Parker was quick. He was his first couple years when they made their deep playoff runs. He was almost unstoppable, quicker and a bigger guy, strong. So. Now, is he slower? Yeah. Is he not as strong? Yeah, he's not as strong, but still a good player. The first half showed it. He was the one that highlighted. So, no, I don't think he trash either. I like his game. I mean, you see where he's older, the injuries have happened, and you see his other players. You adjust your game. Tatum has no skill. I disagree. Jaylen's a real hooper. I saw him when he played in Cobb County High School. Okay, Rico Warren. Thank you for sharing that. As I said, you know, I don't mind his game. I think he has a decent game. He's quick, but again, you know, injuries have taken some toll on him. He's not as quick. Tatum, yeah, he's legit. Splash, don't disrespect Tatum like that. Now Tatum is nice. Tatum is definitely nice. You can see where they build him up. One day, because he's quite a bit younger than even Curry. Curry ain't that much younger than LeBron. And you see the beating the little dude that's taking. You know, Curry with the ankle, the hands, and that's the problem with smaller players. You saw the same thing with Tony Parker. You know, the dudes start breaking down because Iverson the same way. Little dudes start breaking down. And what was interesting about Iverson, that Iverson didn't take the book from Michael Jordan. I don't know if this is true or not, but remember what is Corey Holcomb calling the soggy raccoon when Ari Spears was doing the thing of making fun of Iverson, was showing Iverson smoke cigarettes. I don't know if that's true or not, but Iverson didn't hit the weights. And here's an ex-football player. You'd have thought the opposite. You know, some people thought Iverson could have played college football. Jaylen Brown's also started their run in the fourth. He's one of raw players still refining his game. Okay. Tatum got some more muscle on him. He'd be almost unstoppable. He says, "Big, what's up, Time Lord, Jag of the wise black jaguar teacher. This is a good time too to remind people we give that transformation energy out from the omen. I'm the only I'm the only person on here that gives this kind of energy out. Me and Brother Edward. So thank you for motivating me, Brother Edward. We give that transformation, from the oldest civilization out of the Americas. I'm a Christian, okay. We all got our own thing where we are. I don't judge whatever you think. I would say no, don't believe in anything. Know it. That's all. Just know it. Know what you are practicing. Because religion is a practice too. A lot of funky energy been around me lately. I'll just say this. People don't realize that when you're serious, you're just serious all the time. And I think people underestimate serious people. And they don't realize that there are people that are serious all the time. And when you're serious all the time, the way you handle your business is serious. And some people, it's too late when they realize that you're a serious person. Yes. Let me philosophize. How long I've been going? Oh, not too long. But Iverson, was body broke down. He still didn't need practice. We talked about practice. Yeah, well, because practice is shooting rounds. I mean, you make the adjustments before the NBA games. The NBA wants me to drink beet. Oh, okay. Beer. Oh, I drink beer. I sense that funky energy. I sense that too. Funky energy. Yeah, it's definitely funky energy around me. I am tripping. Maybe something going over my head. I'm getting old. My fellow moderators, peace, chat, and many blessings. The Black Jaguar God be upon y'all. For real. Yes. Very kind words. Inspired me to start following the Olmec Mayan calendars. I've been going back, checking dates, and looking at the numbers. This shit blew my mind. Get this book for sure. This is the introduction, but he got more. But this is a great introduction to the Mayan works. I mean, this is like the first book that the Time Walkers sent me to, was this one. So this is a great book for that information, to get an understanding and, to show Hanukkah and try to understand Hanukkah. Hanukkah ain't no sun god. See, you get these Europeans, well, they were just sun, they just worship the sun. Hanukkah ain't got nothing to do with the sun. They don't look at Hanukkah, the giver of time and movement, ain't got nothing to do with the sun. Because when the sun go down, things still move. The sun can't make things grow at night. The moon can, but not the sun. So to try to say that they were just only sun worshipers is wrong. And they're not pointing you in the right direction. But this is, a great little book. And again, ain't no other book gonna tell you what your soul looks like. That's what your soul looks like. That's what it breaks down to. Nobody else is gonna tell you this. This is what it moves through. Neutrino. When you are a neutrino, this is what you look like. This is the binary, as they call it, the I Ching. This comes from the Americans. This old calculating system. That's what you move through. Ain't too much else gonna give you that. Don't take my word for it. Experience it. Please ask me. I watch the NBA. Why I watch the NBA? You gotta answer that yourself. Yeah, it's entertainment. Yeah, it's just entertainment. Afro-American. I'm from Michigan. That dude was talking crazy. I'm just reading the feed. uh, well, seems pretty harmless. We'll let him rock. Oh, but that was my interpretation of the games tonight. Run a few dollars on the abs. So, but not panicking. It ain't changed my mind. This ain't changed my mind. Y'all saw the game. Y'all saw if the shots kept making in the second half of Golden State, they would have won the game easy. That's why people were saying it could be a sweep. Y'all saw it. As I said, Horford, if the pressure was put on him the whole game, he wouldn't have had that energy in the fourth quarter. He wasn't faking being tired early in the game. He wasn't faking that. He was moving. It was like the year when Boston won it before with Garnett. Paul, what was his name? Gaston, whatever his name was, one of the brothers. It was like Garnett and him was getting up the floor quick. He was lagging behind. He wasn't keeping up with the flow of the game. Garnett and him was running by him. And then what was interesting, 2 years later, that didn't hurt him that he wasn't getting up and down the floor. Do y'all remember that? Boston won, and then the next year they beat that same Boston team, and this center ain't got any quicker. He's still lagging up and down the floor, but they're letting him set up, So double him and Kobe's open. But do y'all remember that, how they did that? Where when they played Boston that first time, even when they made that trade to get him, it wasn't helping them because it was almost like they do the big man now. You ain't got the shooters on the floor. You got this big man who's slow. And that's how Boston won with Pierce and Garnett and Jesus Shuttleworth. Jesus. So, just my observation. Just my observation. He seems harmful. So, harmless. So, that ain't too negative. Celtics in 7. Okay, Eric. I still think it's going to be Golden State in 5. They're going to win the next 4. That is what it looks like. Golden State had to play bad to lose. You saw it. You saw it. They turned everything off for him. Remember what was turned on? Clay going through the lane. Remember those kind of shots? And again, Wiggins, not really a defensive factor, though. Wiggins played pretty decent defense. He had 2 or 3 blocks. He had a nice block of that big fella. They blocked the shit out of his shit. That was sweet. So yeah. We'll see. I still think it's going to be Golden State in 5. That's where the money is. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Yeah, I think they did too. I think they kind of did. They played down, it seemed. It seemed they did play down at a point. At least I thought so. Oh my goodness, I like drinking this beer too much. Shits and giggles. Yep. Celtics is balling. Warriors winning to go 6 already. They want to make it an entertaining series because NBA is garbage. Hey, Unique Breed, how you doing? Almost all shots are fake, not some. I would say all shots. I like tobacco too much. It is a smooth kind of thing. I couldn't imagine smoking. Smokers, what do y'all think about? They talk about taking away all the sweet cigarettes. Not banning all cigarettes because they all harm everybody, but just ban the sweet ones. Now, I've told this story before. This story goes back roughly 40 years. Back in 1982, 1983, Lorillard Corporation that makes Newports. It's in Greensboro. It was just right up the street from where I lived. Multiple people I knew worked there. They created a cigarette called Uptown. And the cigarettes were made where, because, a lot of brothers will pack the cigarettes and then they'll open them from the other end because they say that the tobacco's packed a little firmer. So they made the packages to do that. Menthol cigarettes, again, they was called Uptowns. These cigarettes were so aimed at the community that the government said, hey, you can't make these. You can't make these. Isn't that some shit? So the Newport, that's an old joke somebody else said a long time ago, but Newport. Because remember, those cigarettes didn't come out till the 80s. In the 60s and 70s, people smoked Cools. Cools was the sweet cigarette. You talking about Paul Gasol? Yeah, Kobe had to get in his ass that 08 finals, but he toughened up in the rematch in the 10 finals. Yeah. Yep. Talking about Gasol. Now he just was slow as fuck. What do you think about Iguana playing over Kuminga? He should have been retired. Why do they keep him? I don't get why they like him. Kobe fans always say Paul was not a Hall of Famer. I think for his world game, the Hall of Fame is for the world, is all of basketball. So I like the way you say b-ball's spiritual. I agree. It's neutral, naturally either shooting by yourself. There's a good energy there. Well, like specifically basketball, any way you put the hoop, if you put the hoop sideways the way the Mayans did, which the Mayans put it like this too. They look, when you see a lot of them hoops up high, they put them up there. Them was broken off years ago. They put them up there. So some of the hoops was like this too. Not all the hoops was like that. See, that's what they want you to think. But if you look at the hoops, you can tell the masonry is new. It could go on either way. And I kind of forgot the point I brought up. But okay. And this is what is so unique about basketball. The reward is putting it in a hoop. And you just need a ball, the hoop, and yourself. Before there was Nerf hoops, we would do the socks and the hangers. We did that from the time I could walk and run around my cousins. We did that. Shot a ball in a hanger. And the first thing they came out with suction cup little hoop with a Nerf ball, but it had suction cups. And so if you had a steel apartment door, perfect. We had a steel apartment door. It was perfect. Or townhouse, I think, at the time. It's perfect for that. And then the Nerf hoops came out. I think I was 11th, 12th, maybe. Probably college when the true Nerf hoops. It was people that would make little hoops too. So Kobe fans say he's going to get in. Well, his world game would get him in. He played in the Olympics and shit. Like the way, yeah. The cheetah print, how does it work? Remember the candy cigarettes we used to act like we were smoking? Yeah, that's a good point. The candy cigars too, the little candy cigars too. They sold candy cigarettes and candy cigars. The cigars was a big, thick piece of gum. Absolutely. What does the cheetah print mean? Miss Jody can get into it just as deep as I can. So if you want to look at her channel, I'm sure she talks about it, but just giving you the idea of kind of how Hollywood works. So a lot of you see local commercials. These YouTube commercials are a perfect example. There's a YouTube commercial of a dude that does some kind of solar panels, okay? But he starts like this. At some point, he shows what level he is. This is a Mason thing. This ain't nothing new. You show what level you are. You show who you giving your appreciation for this moment. All right. Well, the beast is truly an obscene kind of thing. It operates on a lot of sex magic. Now, sex magic is a thing. There is a way that it can control and influence and put you to different heights if that's how you want to make it. So to make it even simpler for everyone, people get this little, whatever way the position they get in front of the camera, around the camera. Like I say, Lisa Salters. Lisa Salters ain't no young chick. Lisa Salters used to be a White House correspondent. Now, I didn't know that being an ESPN sideline reporter is a better job than a White House correspondent's job. I could be wrong. Maybe the ESPN paid more than that. But remember, what's her name? The CBS that works with the King, she used to be the same thing. She used to be a White House reporter. She's on the morning, CBS Morning. I can't think of her name. She got the blue eyes, chick, old European. Well, not that old. But she used to do the same thing. And she's headlining her morning show for about 7th, 8th year. Lisa Saunders is still a sideline reporter. So maybe she got fired. Well, a couple years ago, she's wearing this cheetah print. Now, understand how the business works. Somewhere along the line, you got some help from someone. And there's someone perverted around them that thinks that you owe them. And everyone has a handler. And handlers will put you in positions to see if you'll go through with it. And most of them do. I'm surprised we don't see Sister Girl Harris yet wearing the cheetah print in the White House or at Audi. Because she did more than enough work. Because she's the same person. Or she's the same. She's another woman that made her way the cheetah print way. She did that as well. She just haven't exposed it as I've seen, but it's out there, I'm sure. So they show that they've been through this different level of sex magic. And I've showed several. I mean, my old channel, even this channel, I've showed several. Molly Curran, the Taylor Girl on the Herd. I mean, all these chicks, if you watch it enough, eventually they'll show you they're in it. That they go to these locations and they do what's asked of them. Ain't no shame. They don't have no shame in it. And then they got to show the world that they've been through it, that they've been initiated. So it's a type of initiation showing that they've degraded themselves. That's basically what it's showing you, that these women have been degraded. So, move them up because they've been degraded. When you pack them, they also will hold the ash more solid, won't easily fall out or drop ash. The whole cigarette will burn all the way and hold the ash if you pack it good. Wow. You sound like you smoked some before. I'm 60, about to be 61 this next couple weeks, end of the month. And I've smoked 4 cigarettes in my life. I can't say I enjoyed smoking one. The last one I smoked, I was around a lot of chicks that was smoking. I was just mingling with them. But yeah, 4 in my life. 4 in my life. But that is interesting. That sounds like a person that smoked a few. They say smoke them if you got them. I'm just joking with you. You know that. I say the Warriors signed him for a 1-year deal for the same reason the Rams signed Eric Waddle. Good point. Good point. That's like the Heat keeping Udonis. And why isn't he a coach? Like, why does he have to take a position of a younger dude when he's obviously coaching? Oh, okay. You send me some stuff. Okay, Edward. Thank you. I'll check it out. Why don't they just let him coach? Because that's what he's doing. At times, they turn the team to it. That's why they keep him around. They're grooming him. So why let him take a spot? Doesn't make any sense. Just make him assistant coach. Yankees balling. Yeah, I saw that. The Celtics signed Hartford when Hartford was stuck on after he was the Celtics. Yeah, that didn't make sense to bring him back. Looked like he was done. Really looked like he was done. Good angel. We Hebrew Israelites, that's why we're going through what we're going through, but the Lord is near, so everyone is being revealed. Okay. It ain't really negative. Um, you put a video showing Shaq wearing the cheetah pendant. Absolutely. You know, they made fun of Shaq. I don't care. Watch Bedazzled. That's about Shaq. I am watching SportsCenter right now. And the fuck is with these new marks that the Celtics and Warrior coaches have on? New mask. The new mask, yeah. They don't need them. It's like going into places and seeing people with them. So, yeah, it is still an agenda. And there's some people still scared that they think they got to wear them. There's some people still scared enough where they feel they still got to wear them. That's just how it is. That is just how it is. They don't need the mask, but, you know, that's the agenda. And I say the masks go back to Westworld in 17, 18. So if you remember the season of Westworld from 19, you see people in the background wearing masks. And remember, if it was shown in 19, it was made in 1817. So this is how long they've been trying to push it. Westworld in 19 was showing people in the background wearing masks. And again, you can point to Michael Jackson, you know. I went to the party for a different kind of action. The next thing I know, I started doing the Michael Jackson. How many of y'all know I remember how to do the Michael Jackson? That say video. Michael Jackson goes across when they're saying say with him and Paul McCartney, and he walks across the stage. He does that little dance. It's kind of like you know, you lift your ankles up and down, like kind of like that. And kind of, yeah, I don't know. I remember watching women wearing heels doing that shit because that shit was you had to really kind of move your feet. Yeah. But that was a rap song. Went to the party for a different kind of action. The next thing I know, I started doing Michael Jackson. And that song was out. Oh, shit. Those was the days. I'm a dancing machine, baby. Dancing machine. Also known as Joshua ben Pandora, Jesus, the son of the Panther. Deep, Edward. Oh, those masks look like muzzles they put on dogs. That's funny. That is funny. But it's a fear thing. It was a fear thing from the very beginning. It was a psyop on children. You know, I've said that before. They wanted to hit this. They gave me a strike. The first strike, only strike I've had on this channel for saying, you know, what the doctors were saying about the cloth mask, that they don't do anything. You've got to have the doctor mask. So oh, you know, I should start doing an episode of I'm high and everybody ain't. You know, it's just the funniest shit when you go out in public and you realize that you high and everybody else ain't high. That is the funniest shit in the world. It's like I'm on it and you're not. How on you? I just think that is the funniest shit. It's like you get somewhere and then you be around people. And then when you're around people, you're like, you know, I really didn't gauge my high before I left, but now I'm like high to the 10th power of 7. And these motherfuckers is tripping me out, looking at this bullshit, you know. Do you have a religion? No, I don't have a religion. I guess the Mayan way, the Oman way, the Omic way is what I follow. I guess if it's anything, I would be a time walker. I guess if you say what is the essence of what I study, it would definitely be a time walker. Would be the essence of all, would be my baseline. Like if you really let me give it out. Okay, let me give it out. I guess if that, you know, you look at like where my essence starts, it would be with the time walkers, is where my essence started. But through that, it made me discover Hanukkah in the Mayan way, in the Mayan calendar, and the hero twins. So it's not one thing, it's multiple things. It's multiple things that information that is helpful. You can read some of this stuff and it takes you just down the darkest path, but then just that one little bitty thing that you're like, damn, they told this. I mean, you really can read some of this dark stuff and it's like, it is just like dark, 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 dark. And it'd be like, ding, wait a minute, you gave this up? But you got to read through all of it. My brother is excellent at that. Where he'll sit there and go through all that ciphering, and he's like, yeah, because I'll get frustrated. I'm like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit, and I ain't scaring nobody. Why are they writing this shit trying to scare it, make it, just get to the fucking point? But a lot of times you got to go through it. And that's what my brother was like, man, he sent me that book about the Aztec way. And it's like, I'm just struggling to read it. But like once I got past a certain part, this dude flipped the script on the book and was like, hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of how you have to be. You know, discernment was a popular word going around in 1819, but that still is relevant. It is one of the most relevant spell words that's went around. It's you look at this stuff as it comes in. It's like you are the strainer. You are the, you are the filter. It's like the same way. The information is just like going into a store and buying something. You know, you pass around the shit that you don't need. You pass it by. You know how you read words and some shit is like, I really don't know what the fuck that word means, but I can keep reading and figure out what this kind of means. It's that thing. Mayans practice blood sacrifice. That's why the cheetah print outfits worship panther, Shannon religion. But no, that ain't true. Not the Mayans. No, you getting it mixed. You getting the Mayans mixed up with the Aztec. There's no credible proof that the Mayans practiced sacrifice. Now, if you look at the murals at Bonpuk, what the Mayans are showing is killing prisoners of war. Prisoners of war. That's what Bonpuk. I've got the big book. Show you the whole story. That's who you see Mayans killing. These are his grandchildren. His grandson specifically built that place. So not the Mayans, that's Aztec. And as I said before, one thing that you have to look at and have to understand, the victors write the histories. And the Spanish killed a lot of people. Now, not enough to make people disappear, not the same. See, another thing they try to take away from the American Indians is trying to say, well, disease killed them, especially the East Coast people. And that's a big lie as well. They tried to use the lie in South America saying why the Spanish won. They tried to use the same thing here. So you're a little wrong on the history there. It's not the Mayan. That's tied with the Aztecs, not Mayans. No, that's totally wrong. Totally wrong. You ain't did enough studying. They did not do the same thing. They did not come from the same areas. The Aztecs came from the north. The Aztecs came from either Texas, New Mexico. They could have been even far north as Arizona. They came from one of them areas. The Mayan flourished out of the Oman and the Omic. I mean, his life tells that. So no, the Mayan did not practice that. Not the way the Aztecs practiced it. So you got to do a little more homework. I always saw and heard the Aztec doing the sacrifices. Yeah, that's Aztec. And even that is iffy because, again, if you slaughter a lot of people and you kill a lot of people, you have to have an excuse later when all these bodies is filled up. I'll add this, though. I will add this. Brother Brahmer says something that I want to share that's worth sharing. And it hits on this. And I don't think a lot of people understood what he said. And I had never really looked at it this way. But this is a way it could be looked at. So I will share basically what he said. So on this same thing, this will probably resonate with people a little easier. And I should have brought the thing out, but I didn't know I was going to be talking about this. But anyway. So remember when the emperor in China, he had artisans go by and preserve his army? Y'all remember that? Each artisan, preserved his army like that. Well, if you go deeper into the studying, also there was a river, Mercury. Also, this place had robotics moving through this Mercury-like river, but it's River Mercury buried in this place. Just to get people, I'm just trying to layer the story where you kind of understand what was done. So do you see, this emperor was looking at going into the next phase, having his full protection. Okay, is that easy to understand? Well, I guess from a spiritual practice, it's about the best word I can think. From a spiritual practice, the king died, and all the king's staff died with him. They wanted to die because in the next phase, they would still be moving through together. It would almost like going into the next step of having a staff that's already working for you spiritually too. That might be a little hard to understand, but that's the best way I can put it. So it was, this might be even easier. So it was almost like when you transition, you got blockers and guides already right there with you. So when you transition as a group, and the group moves through the ethers together and continues what was already practiced. Thought I'd throw that in there. So this is why some of that was practiced. So that ain't necessarily human sacrifice. That's all just laying down at the same time. Where did the American Indians come from? Life started in one place and spread out. I don't know if I even agree with that point, that life started in one place. Why? Why did they have to start just in one place? You know, referring to Brother Bomber again, when he was talking about the Nagas and all that kind of stuff, talking about the birds against the snakes and shit, and saying the shit was over there in summer, and that's where all the shit started. Like, that's the only dimension. It's just one spot that the dimension is moving. That doesn't make any sense. When we know that this space has been used by multiple type of beings. So why did it have to come into being in one place? That doesn't make any sense. As I said, the other realities that came through this that you cannot deny is the trees. This was once the world of the trees. And if I've said this before, it was trees so high, they talking about the guys couldn't even climb down them. The trees were so high. The trees went into space. And as I've said many times, this was also a planet that looked like just oil everywhere. It was a planet that just everything looked like oil. No land, just this oil look stuff everywhere. And the beings that came out of, that lived amongst that could create anything out of just that substance. And these beings look more amphibian. How far back that is. So what are those two creations? If life came from one spot, how did that kind of life sprout out? And both of them was legitimate lives. I mean, why do you think they talk about talking trees? Why do you think the Hobbit shows walking and moving trees? Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think tree houses come from and wanting to live in the trees again? And I've said many times, and I'm repeating myself, we still build where we live out of trees. Where do you think that comes from? Oh, yeah, I'm looking at myself. Oh, that funkiness is crept in. I mean, where do you think that came from? As I've said, the East Coast, especially my people coming out of the Massachusetts area, we was all up and down and around. Shit, they teach history lying, like, oh, we didn't know anything was over there. What is it called? Became before Columbus. One part that I think people miss because they never comment on this part is supposedly the Jewish faith person Christopher Columbus talked to the King Don Juan of Portugal, and he's pretty much telling him it's shit over there. There's a if you guys who've read that book, that's Columbus was talking to Don Juan, and Don Juan was only saying, hey, we own this from here up, you own from here down. If y'all remember that part. A lot of people don't talk about that, but that's a small part of a book that's a lot of bullshit, but it pointed in the right direction. It said, hey, because I said after that book came out, there was and you can't even find this thing. If anybody finds it, please let me know where I can go buy it. It's what is it called? National Geographic. After that book came out, they had to admit where the omens was, and they were showing the omen lands. That's why when she's saying the omen, Olmec and Mayan was really the same people. If you look at where the omen was from, like the Atlantic coast corner of South America, going all the way to the other side of the Pacific coast. And you just look at where the Mayans were. They were just west. The Yucatan. So these was really the same peoples. Then you had the Toltec. It's a lot of different peoples. So it was always people traveling around Americas, up and down, back and forth. And as I've said before, look up the word natives. They like almost opposites a bit. Yeah, in some ways they are. Mayans were from Peru, and the Aztecs are from the Mexicans, and the Aztecs sacrificed people. Mayans didn't sacrifice. That is what I read. You didn't read enough. Peru, really, they even try to put that bullshit on, what do you call it? Atlantis. They even try to put that bullshit Atlantis tied to the Mayans. The Mayans. Let me see. Okay, here's a perfect example. This is Mayan. This is the oldest codex. All right? But if you look at the gods, they're the same basic gods as the omens. God 1, God L, God M. The map is the thing I need. I do have a map. Maybe. Maybe. And just kind of, we'll get this perspective of who is where. All right. So right here, the omen reached from this area here all the way to this area here, and they found as far north as up in here in Mexico, and as far south as Costa Rica. If you want to say where the Mayan were, the Mayan are in the Yucatan. You see here? So we're just talking about west. Now, the Aztecs weren't very, the Aztecs had only been into America 100 years before Cortez. So the Mayans and the Aztecs got their culture from the Olmecs. Absolutely. But as I said, he's the thread that ties them both together. Because even in this picture, maybe the black and white one's better. Let's see. Don't take me too long to find the motherfucker. Well, gosh darn. Wasting too much time. Okay. As I said before, this is what the omen taught. The jaguar, transformation energy. This is the Kukulkan, the higher self. So this teaches you how to deal with your lower self, your creational self, your transformational self, to go to your higher self. However, all these are portholes, entry parts. This ain't got nothing to do with no spaceship shit. So he's the tie between the two. So if you don't think that they're the same, and as I said before, there's a bias. You know, the Spanish, the Macetos, whatever you want to call them, the ones that are part Spanish and part whatever, they came into America that's related to them. They don't like the ideas that the old man had something to do with him. They don't like that. Even this writer, because he's what do they call now? White, European looking Latino. He's that. This cat back here. He's past that cat. He's got it. He's still biased. Still biased. He says he snuck and got the information from him because he don't want them saying them brothers had that knowledge. So that's all. Just study more. I am not an expert on the subject, my friend. I know the school system is garbage and full of. Thank you for your information. I research subjects in detail. Yeah, that's all. Oh, well, thank you. I just live this. I live this stuff. I don't just, this is a kind of everyday thing. This is what's around me. So, but it's no wrong or right. It's just look it up. That's all. That's one thing I kind of put on here is look it up. How long I've been going? Okay. But I take it serious. So that's all. It's just my interpretation of loving the openings I've been allowed, I guess. And sometimes your curiosity can lead you to nowhere. And then sometimes, like I'll say this as being cool with Turtle Gang. I can't say I'm uncool. Whatever moves he want to make, that's what he make. I have no judgment. But he gave me the time walking papers. And what he said is this will change your life. And more than any other person that I have dealt with, I want to say he gave me them about 12, 13. Yeah, it was a long time ago. But of all the people that I've dealt with, this is the one dude that I've only talked to him through a show. I mean, we've emailed and stuff, of course. But when he sent them to me, he said, this will change your life. And he was absolutely right. That is the one thing in the last 10 years that have absolutely changed my life, getting that information. It has taken my spirituality from just it was something there. Again, my family, your family, it's in your DNA. Certain spiritual systems is inside you. It takes something to, turn it on. So, oh yeah, I just ordered 3 more today, like books. My daughter said, look, I don't like your clothes. I don't like your hat. And I don't like all your goddamn books. She didn't say goddamn books, but that's what she said. She's like, I don't like your clothes. I don't like your hats. And I don't like all those books. You got just books everywhere. I was trying to give her these little books that the company, was throwing away, giving out because, so. And as I said, it's a big difference. I understand like hearing the book in your ear. That is a good way if you're moving around a lot to ingest information. But holding a book, there's a different magic in it. It really is. There's a different magic in holding a book. And I see, as I said, working around the books daily, I see that this thing wants books. This thing wants books. It's not going to get rid of that. And that's why I think the Magicians, in the Magicians TV show, they show the importance of the library. And I see its magic there. I got a little name tag thing that, there's so many books when you're doing stuff. If you like, it was some days where I just was like not really paying attention. I'm putting books on other people's carts and shit. And I had to backtrack and pick all the books up. But I mean, I'm just like, not really understanding the whole system. And so we have carts basically with our names on it because there's thousands of books that you just, if you ain't got your name on your shit or something on there, you'll forget that the shit is yours. It's just that many motherfucking books. And so my little name thing just gets knocked down. It's broke. And this is some shit with some magnets. It gets just knocked down, broke, lost it. And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, oh, okay. It was ever in here is just joking with me. And that's cool. I see that because I see the way the thing works. And I'm like, because energies like hiding in places like that. They really do. They as I said, the reason why we still drive the kind of cars we drive is because there's a monster that feeds off this stuff. And it runs the whole system from the highway systems, all that. This is an entity that lives, and it lives everywhere. The roads and everywhere. The Romans built the original roads for this thing, and this thing didn't eat very much then. But Hitler, Hitler was the one that built the Autobahn. You can drive fast as the motherfucker on these roads built in the 30s and 40s. No, 20s and 30s, I'd say. So why do you think, the highways is tied to Hitler? Eisenhower copied what Hitler did, and he made it happen in America. And Hitler built a lot of that so tanks could go over highways. I mean, y'all do know that, don't you? That the highways is built for our military stuff. That ain't nothing new. That's why Hitler built them, so he could put militaries, vehicles. Highways have the same capability. Eisenhower saw what Hitler did, came back and did it in the 50s and early 60s. Well, did it in the 50s. My great grandfather had a 1919 Model T. He paid $900. It was still a Model T, but more like a lot of y'all probably don't know what the Beverly Hillbillies original car was, but more like that. They ain't have nothing but a front window, and it had a soft top, and when it rained, you let the flaps down. So when it was warm, you had the flaps up, or you could be convertible. When it rained and snowing, you put the flaps down. Remember, these cars didn't have no heat or nothing. Remember, old Volkswagens didn't have heat in them. Old Volkswagen said the heat come off the engine. Well, that ain't usually enough. After a while, it'll melt. But old Volkswagens. So that's the fight. Biden and them trying to get off of gas. That's the fight too. They fighting this beast that don't want to give it up. And so you've got the conservatives saying, we got the gas, which they got. That gas will never run away. And saying, we want to still feed this beast. And you got the Democrats saying, hey, even though we're going to go over the highway for the beast ain't going to feed on this stuff anymore. It's not going to get fed from this, what it gives off. We're going to give you the motion, but you're not going to feed off what it gives off. And that's the fight. Basically, audiobooks are great, but I like reading books. Beverly Hillbillies had Granny Shine. Yeah. Oh, yeah. New email address. Oh, okay. All right. I'll hit you up. Or you hit me up. You know mine. So, I guess I'm gonna go in a minute. This shit is coming in. No, I'm starting to philosophize, and this shit is like coming in. So maybe I'll go a little longer. Damn, I hate these I don't know how y'all wear the headphones. I just can't do that shit. I cannot wear them headphones. Oh my goodness, I don't like hats. Yes, the headphones on the hat is squashing my hat. I don't like that so much. But yeah, any way you can get ingest the information is key. And there's no one way to ingest information. So I guess, I'm saying that once you see how this thing really works, you can move around it. You really can. You can move around it. If you notice, anime is really good at this. Some of the shows, but Harry Potter, like when Harry Potter shows you where they go to school and they're hidden, where they go to school is hidden in plain sight. Because remember, they still had to use the same train station, but the porthole was where the train station was built. So what they're trying to tell even you, and I'm tempted to drink this last beer, but it's a lot of beer for today. But what they're trying to show you is that when you teach yourself the magic that runs this system, or however you perceive it, is saying that you can practice this by yourself, or what you practice is a way to move around this thing and to benefit. You benefit from it. That's what a lot of it is showing you, is how you can move around this thing and still benefit. And I think that's a positive. Them earpieces be irritating at times. Oh man, I just think my friends, I got to get up in a few hours. Oh, thank you for joining me. If you got to work, oh my goodness. I worked last Saturday though. Or no, I worked on the holiday. And so this ain't, this is not a hard thing to understand. It's like it's a way to, it's a path to walk around this thing. And yes, you're gonna find bumps, and you gotta times show this thing that you're serious. Because this thing tries to make you not serious at times. It really does. It tries to take you away from being serious. So at times you get sloppy and you don't present yourself as being serious. But that's where you have to check yourself and say, hey, I can turn this serious button on anytime I want. And automatically my perception is different. The aura is different. People sense this difference. Without you having to say anything or any emotion into it. That's how you got to feel about yourself all the time. It's like, the Americans, we the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. The Mexican army is all around them, and they bust out the door at the end, and damn if you don't think they get away. These dudes just had 6 shooters, and they getting shot at with rifles, and they shooting the shit out these motherfuckers. There's a poster, I've only seen it in black and white, where they bust out that door. It's coming. Okay, I'll give it out. That's how we look at things. I don't care who it all is around me. I'm still fighting. That's a message a lot of people won't get. I don't care if I'm surrounded by an army, I'm still going to fight. I still have the courage to fight. Now, strategic retreat is always on the table, but the courage to fight. Let me, while I'm thinking, I'm just listening to some Civil War shit. They tell you, if you read this stuff and you listen to this stuff, Robert E. Lee did not work for the South. He did not. He did everything that pretty much guaranteed they would lose. He pretty much did. He killed his army at Gettysburg, killed his army on purpose. Killed his army. And their statues, they was proud of that. Like Custer. There's statues all over Michigan of Custer. Custer was a colonel, Civil War colonel. That was kind of, and he wasn't called a general till after him getting wiped out. Because things got worse. Things was better before the Civil War. People don't understand that. Things was better. And I know they say slavery. I ain't got to say it. Dan Calloway tells you a lot of slavery is working. working jobs. You can't tell me that 90% of skilled labor was slaves. How does that make sense? How does a society work where the slaves is the only skilled labor? And that certain people, because again, remember the idea of slavery is people working, not doing skilled work, people working in the fields, right? That's the idea of slavery. Everybody working in the fields. You get up in the morning, you go out and work in the fields. That's the idea they give you. But that ain't building houses, building roads, unflooding marsh areas, all this engineering that had to be done. Who are the engineers? It's Reconstruction. Reconstruction. And they definitely don't want that told. Reconstruction is what they called slavery, was truly Reconstruction. Because the people wasn't in prisons the way they was in Reconstruction. Reconstruction was they did the same thing in the 80s. Bring the cocaine, take away the jobs. No, take away the unions, take away the jobs, bring in the temporary agencies, and then also bring in cocaine. Say, okay, do you want to make, a little bit of money trying to be an honest person working in these factories? For the temp agencies are first. Got to wear the stupid ass temp shirt. Or do you want, sell this cane and hope you don't get caught? But you're buying it from agents. You're buying the shit from agents. So the odds of you getting caught is pretty great. And people during Jim Crow was kept slaves from the 1870s until the 1960s. Do I need to repeat that? People was kept as slaves during Jim Crow from the 1870s. We can skip 10 years. Okay, 1885. We can even go 1890. People was kept as slaves from 1890 to the 1960s. Field people. You can find interviews in the 60s when I was a little boy of people still being slaves in the South. So that's my lifetime, and that's Jim Crow. But I've been, listening to Civil War shit. They tell you listen to this shit, you see. They killed Stonewall Jackson on purpose. They shoot him on purpose. His own people shot him. That's how good he was. So they took him out. Just like the commander before Lee, Johnston. I think Johnston got killed, or Johnston got injured and couldn't fight anymore. Lee took his place. Okay, all biz. Yeah, Pickett's charge made no sense. Matter of fact, it made no sense to fight at Gettysburg at all. It made no sense to fight at Gettysburg at all. Jeb Stuart had been missing for almost a week or two. And Jeb Stuart was his cavalry, was his eyes and ears, as he later called him. He went in Gettysburg blind. He went in there blind. And Pickett's charge made no sense. I don't care how long you blast cannons at some people. You cannot ask 14,000 people to cross a field with motherfucking cannons going. Tell me in the history of war where that made any sense. And Longstreet told him, this shit makes no sense. Let's keep attacking them all the way back to Baltimore. That's what Longstreet said. We up in the north. We can live off the land. Let's keep attacking them, keeping them on defense. Make Grant come up out of the South. That was the original idea. Make Grant come up out of the South because you putting your foot in their ass in the North. It wasn't sit somewhere and put a whole corps. That's a corps. That's like the shit with Hitler, leaving an army to get captured. Millions of men. Makes no sense when his people had time to strategically retreat. It shows you he wasn't trying to win. Hitler goes into Russia for one purpose, to take the oil lands. That was the purpose, to take all three army groups, cut off everything that led to them oil lands. And instead, he separates the army so he can go fuck with Stalingrad, which had no logistic purpose. Not until you secure them oil lands. Makes no sense. Shows you he really didn't try to win. D-Day, Hitler doesn't release the reserve panzers. Rommel is up at the lines, and they all up at the lines, and they can't get along and say, hey, we need help up here. Beat these motherfuckers off the beaches. So wars is like sports. You can look at wars almost like sports. It's a lot of wars is the same way, predetermined. That's why the Kingsman's is so good about looking at the last Kingsman, Kingsman 3, is they show you three cousins fighting in Europe. Three cousins own all these countries, and they ain't risking nothing. It's the people that risk the shit. People don't want to work a job anymore. Well, I mean, work is slavery in some ways. Work is slavery. It is. We're modern day serfs. That's just a fact. I mean, never in the history of mankind have we seen the difference between what they want to say, again, the top percent, the top earners, compared to everyone else. And I don't mean these names out there. I mean the real people that's out there getting it. It's people really out there getting it compared to working people. And I mean, what we're seeing now with inflation is a trick. Okay, we'll raise you to a living rate, but we'll take that living rate away by making everything so expensive. But I'll say this about gas. Fuck whatever it is. Fuck whatever it is. You're going to pay it. I'm going to pay it. Fuck whatever it is. Ain't no reason to complain about that shit. Okay. That shit make my car go. What is it going to take me where I got to go this week? I'm going to fucking pay it. I don't give a fuck. Put the shit $100 a gallon. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to pay it. All right. Let's put that energy out there. Whatever the fuck you put it, I'm going to pay it, and I'm going to move around. I ain't heard one person say that I'm not going to drive because it's so high. Oh, yeah, I'm getting faded. This shit is kicking in good. My mother told me stories of her little girl in Winston County, Mississippi, picking cotton with her brothers and sisters, sharecropping. She was born in the 50s. Yeah, well, sharecropping was prevalent even before the Civil War. Sharecropping was prevalent, very prevalent, very prevalent. It was a way of working large amounts of land, and people was really sharing. And that's what people forget about the South. It was the encouragement of doing that and how that spread with so many different people being successful doing this in the South. The Northerners weren't getting any of this. And in the South, they were getting more power, more gold. And you had a lot of bankers in the North, the industrial thing, because they try to tell you it's industrial, against the agriculture. It wasn't that. The agriculture ain't never went away, did it? Tried to tell you we just industrial society. That's bullshit. As long as you got to eat, you're always going to have an agricultural society. So that's bullshit. It's a reason. They was blocked out of them lands. Banks wasn't down there like they wanted. So yeah, fairly common. I said before, my father grew up in Mississippi. My great-grandfather gave up 100 acres to marry my great-grandmother. He was 29, she was 15 or 16. They got married in the 20s, I think. He had thousands of acres at one time in Mississippi. Thousands. That he could just give 100 acres so they can build a school. It was the Macon something school for years. So the feds were actually in Gettysburg first. Not really quite true. All biz, indentured servants, yep. Let's see. Okay. I've always considered work. Yeah, it is. It is no sense. But how else are you going to support yourself and your family? Yep. Indentured service. Yeah, that's the name. The feds were actually in Gettysburg first. Hubbard set up defenses. That's not really quite true. Not quite really true. Um, McCullum had just taken over. And what you had was, as I said, Jeb Stuart wasn't patrolling in that area. He was patrolling in other areas and he was going to come there later. So he was late. He was supposed to be surveying them areas as they was coming in because, again, everything was lovely. They was able to forage very well, living off the land and the people as they moved these troops in. They was able to feed themselves well. And what you had is a group of sharpshooters that came in the area, and the sharpshooters saw the southern movement there and saw that they had an enormous amount of troops there. So actually, if you look at who set up first, the Southerners really set up first, but the Northerners had a big enough troops because, again, they're not really spy network, but their scouts were a little better, so they're able to set up. And Longstreet was right. They shouldn't have fought at Gettysburg. They should have bypassed it. They should have bypassed it and because it was terrible ground. Like if you look at Fredericksburg, Manassas, Bull Run, especially Fredericksburg, they had the heights, they had the high ground. And so, anytime you've got to fight up, it's at a disadvantage. They get fucked up. Get all the movies, Gods and Generals, all those kind of type of movies that talk about the Civil War. They show you a little bit of truths about it. The first time the Scott report massive troop movement towards Gettysburg, Lee ignored it. I don't think he totally ignored it, other than he just didn't think they were able to amass everybody kind of opposite of him so quickly, But again, Jeb Stuart hurt him immensely. He hurt him because, again, he was like, Jeb Stuart was about the papers. They was putting his name in the paper where he was foraging, and he's up in the north with his cavalry just moving around, being popular, being wrote about instead of doing his job, and that hurt Lee. But Lee can't be excused for what he did with the pickets. He can't be excused for that. That was just straight up sacrificing people. So Lee worked for the North. He was a Mason. He's a Mason. I don't believe that shit. That he turned down to be the Northern general because he loved the South so much. No, he was an agent, and he ended up, not winning. Because the aim of the South was never to win the war. The aim of the South was to make the North quit fighting or come to, some kind of agreement. That was the aim of the South. It was never to conquer all of it. The aim of the North was to conquer the South, to totally conquer it all. So it was different objectives. But yeah, I love that kind of history. And I've said this before. I would drive because, again, my ex-wife's family, for 6-7 years when we was first married, every summer, she was a teacher. Every summer we went to North Carolina, where we'd go to DC and go to North Carolina. Or if we went to North Carolina first, we'd always back in DC, and I would always go by Gettysburg. I'm like, yeah, next time when we come back, I'll keep that story. But one time, yeah, we was occupied. She was like, I want to try this shit in the car. We was going by Gettysburg. I'm like, I want to go up in there. And so, missed the turn one time. But you could always say, and, be right there going through Fredericksburg. Because like right when you go off of 80-90, a few miles back, you can go up and start going into New York. Especially you want to go to, more northern New York or like even New York City, compared to like trying to go to Buffalo. Buffalo is closer to Ohio. I used to get that badass blue type of bud. I don't even think that shit is around anymore. That shit was blue, like blue like blue shit. Buffalo. Somebody asked my Super Bowl pick. I'm thinking the Eagles. Eagles should be pretty good this year. And I'm thinking the Raiders. Eagles and the Raiders. a replay of the 76 Super Bowl, maybe? Super Bowl 12? I'm lying. I don't know what Super Bowl it is. Oh, you grew up in Arkansas. Okay. Yeah, I was in Arkansas a couple months ago. Went down there. It was pretty down there. You know, again, I don't know how, you know, living down there, but it was pretty. People living on the bluffs and shit. That'd be fucking cool. Living up on them high bluffs and looking over, you know, the area, see all the lights and shit. That'd be kind of, you know, uplifting. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I am funky. But I'm a history guy. You know, I love all these books that just come in this history stuff. You know, I think I got one fiction book. A dude wrote a history of Columbus, when Columbus first landed, and dealing with the people in the islands, and how, you know, he had to fight a sister. Sister gave the ass a stiff resistance. So it's not like he just rode over everybody, you know. I still didn't get to understanding why they didn't defeat the dogs. You know, the dogs going up in the mountain. It's easy to beat a dog, you know. You take spears, you take swords, you know, they had all that stuff. You can defeat dogs easy. But I guess, you know, the dogs still give away your location. But all that South American stuff doesn't make sense, because how 500 people sleep, and I've said this many times, how do 500 people sleep if I'm attacking them constantly? Nonstop, sending people. I don't care. They only had 20 guns. They only had about 20 horses. And these guns is like a piece of wooden block that you sit. It wasn't like they had boom, boom, boom. And I don't care if you got armor. You trying to fight when it's 110 in the afternoon? And you're telling me if I attack you at 10 o'clock in the morning, you can fight until 6, 7 at night with that heavy armor on. I don't care if you got horses. I don't care if you got armor. And I'm just sending men at you constantly. You telling me that there's men on this earth that can go through all that, and so many people hated the Aztecs, where once they got so tired, they could go take a break? Tell me that makes sense. Tell me that sounds like a real story, that happened. There's no way that could have happened. There's no way. There's no way that many people hated their fellow man. Oh yeah, I'm groovy now. I guess I am going to pop this other beer. I'm getting perched, and I feel like philosophizing. Shoot, if that ain't real, how much is really real? Because that story makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. But yet, this is what they want you to believe. You know, all this history of, you know, wars. Can it be overcome? It can be overcome. Is violence necessary? Says it is. Wow. Cautious kind of thing. Have fun with this stuff. Guess there should be a question. Let's just send positive energy to everyone. All right, how about that? We'll just, through my actions with you, we're going to send positive energy toward people. You know, all you got to do is help me push it through. Positive energy, everybody. Positive healing energy to y'all. The more you mess with this stuff, the more it reacts to you. My cards have been just jumping off the table at me. Got to start doing some readings. Oh, I went to the chiropractor. Granny Groovy Lou. I went to the chiropractor today and got the acupuncture. And again, the reason why there's a science really, like even acupuncture and chiropractor, my doctor and I, it's funny, I got him going. And we were just talking about the science behind it. You know, I've been going to a chiropractor since I was fourth, fifth grade. I would say probably fifth grade. My mother started working for a chiropractor. And he was the kind of dude, old Jewish faith cat too. He was the first person though in the 70s. He didn't give his daughter any of the vaccinations. And I met her when I was a cop in college, the college at Western Michigan. She was going to school there. She had lost her ID. I got to see her again. I had only seen her as a baby. But here was this adult that hadn't got any shots because her dad didn't believe it back then. And I went to him for years. I went to him even through, I think when I first got back from college, I still visited him a couple of times because he never charged me. He never, like when my mother worked for him, even when she quit working for him, he still never charged us. So I went to him until I was like 18, 19. My chiropractor now, shoot, 5 years easy. But what's interesting is when they put the pins in you, you can see, like sometimes you can literally feel the energy. He's felt the energy too. Because sometimes he's put pins in me, he's like, whoa, he feels it as it's released. A lot of times when it hurts, it releases energy. But this is the only way where you or I can get the deepest, our meridians, I think they call it, that's inside of us. And it's the way to activate them. Meridians, excuse me. Because our insides is just as much a world as these outsides. I mean, that's why this is made. A lot of the way you look at how this all works, it works internally in us as well. If you look at the whole system, I mean, the veins is a direct look at, if you want to say kind of even the nervous system is string theory. I mean, if you look at, the source being, like Dan Winter says, the source being in the middle, and then, all these strings run off the source. The source, turns everything on through these different type of movements. Well, the body is shaped just exactly like that. So it's a way, acupuncture is a way to tell the inside you're doing the best you can. And it is a way to specifically push energy inward for the healing purpose, like deeper. Like massages go deeper, like if you just do like this, it helps a little bit, but if you get the gun, it's a little more effective. That makes sense. And so, man, I didn't take my headphones. So it was a really good session. I really feel well. And I thanked him because he helped me a lot. Getting to the point where, again, I'm up and working and being more productive, playing pickleball. So this has all kind of worked. And so I was serious about trying to get back in shape, make myself healthier, stronger. And I sat back, setbacks. That's why I didn't drink the last couple of days, because I like it too much. But I do have enough self-discipline to say, hey, got not to drink for a couple of days. It's just how we have to take care of ourselves. It's like, okay, you can eat a few chips, don't eat the big ass bag. Get the munchies, eat a few, keep fruit around. The goal is a lot of little meals. It's really how you're supposed to do it. When they say 7 times a day, you're supposed to really eat. None of us did that. None of us drink enough water. I mean, the beautiful thing about this time of year is being outside, getting all the vitamin D. Now we got children don't even want that. We buy things for the children, they don't even want to be outside. And I know my middle son is 27, so I know his generation was the same way. One time, I watched him and his cousins play on the trampoline because we were staying with some of my ex-wife's family. And from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, they would play on the trampoline days in a row. He had two other little cousins around the same age. They'd come in to get something to eat, and they spent the rest of the time jumping on them things. And some of the video stuff was around. His cousins had that stuff. But when it was summertime, even that generation, 27, still wanted to play outside most of the time. And what do we have now? Children don't even want to be outside. So, encourage that where you can. Be outside where you can. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling nice and funky. And it's like you can be powerful and you don't have to always say powerful words. You just have to have powerful actions, powerful intention. Your aura has to be powerful. You don't have to say the words. You just have to be. That's the thing about confident. Confident is you just got to be. And if you have to turn on the hat that says, leave me the fuck alone, you can do that. And you ain't got to say all that. You ain't got to be, boast about it. You just got to be about it. Premium Vitamin D1. That's right. That's right. Premium. And there's a real thing to see the sun come up. There's energy there. When the sun first comes up and you look at it every day, you can be disciplined enough to get up when it comes up every day. And the same thing when it goes down, where you can, even though it's a different disc now, it's some kind of simulator now, but still there's energy in the simulator. Just because it ain't what they say it is, it's still got potential that can help you. So, get a little sunshine when you can. Richard Pryor had a character called Mudbone, and Mudbone talked about, how the sun came and he had to, rub it all around you, And that's really what it is every day. You get that little bit of sun and rub it all around you. Because up here, it's mild. They're talking about a beautiful day tomorrow. It's in the 70s. We should be seeing, it's June. We should be seeing 80s. And we're seeing 70s, mild days. It's probably in the 50s right now, high 50s. So it's still mild. So this is probably going to be a summer like 98, where just in Michigan, we didn't really have a summer. We really didn't have a summer. We were able to wear jeans all summer long. Winter wasn't harsh, but yeah, fall came in and really wasn't a big change. It was like the same. Once it quit snowing in the spring, it never changed. It like stayed spring until it went fall again. Never really got warm. And I imagine that's what we're seeing. It ain't really hot compared to last year. Last year was pretty hot. So seasons change. And we all have to change, It's no good for you to be stagnant and be the same mind frame. I think that's what Sly gets irritated of some of the content he was hearing from people. Is like these people was getting stagnant into what that they really believed. They was really stagnant in it, and there was no growth, And I guess the growth turned out aimed at one. You have a people trying to build a movement, and then one is able to kind of nudge itself. How flowers grow out the concrete. One is able to, get his flower a little higher, and so everybody, through they reels and they hooks into that. Let that push us through, and we'll just support that. Coattails, we'll kind of ride the coattails on that. And there's power in understanding all that. And how this thing will raise you to the highest heights. And this thing will throw you back to the lowest lows. I didn't mention this. I was telling this to my best friend. As I say, the Barber family, my family's married into their family. Collis Barber is his uncle. He married my cousin. His name is Collis. Barber Sr. lives not far from here, Medicine Lake. And so this is his nephew that died. So he put a better picture. If I didn't say this, I don't think I said this yesterday. He put a better picture, because I know Lobo was saying it was a bad picture of Barber. So wanted to mention that he put a better picture of the family. So this is his nephew. This is his nephew. And again, seemed like years ago he had CTE and mental illness. So sadly, when athletes who are marked, they are easy targets when they get into these kind of situations. Again, a lot of mental health is criminalized. And so once that mental health gets criminalized, it's not hard to stay in that type of pattern. It's hard for some to break out of that. And whatever drug abuse. But mental illness is, again, that is a total chemical imbalance of some type at times. So you're not only battling your reality, the way you perceive things and think things out, you battling the system too. Because a lot of times you make these decisions, and these decisions, are criminalized. And so not only are you at a disadvantage of being mentally ill, you are being mentally ill and locked up for being mentally ill without any help, other than just give you drugs to make you be quiet, instead of counseling to find out really what's wrong and what is the best map. And we know professional football players that play running back, it's nothing but head hits. I mean, if you look at a professional football player that played running back as a little boy, do you know how many head hits that person has taken as a little boy? Say he started playing football in the 6th grade. Probably played sooner though. I bet he started playing in 4th grade. But let's just take from 6th grade, and you play running back. Now let's go back a little further. Let's say 4th grade. 4th grade, playing against 4th graders, you will take a ton of head hits already at that age. And if you're good, you still play in that position in 5th grade. Everybody gets just a little faster. You still taking head hits. Even though you might run around people, practice games, you still taking head hits. 6th grade, a little quicker, but players a little better too. Again, even if you can run by people, some point you're going to take head hits. 7th, 8th, 9th, high school. You may run by everybody most of the time, but some points you still taking head hits. College, to start, even just 10 years ago in college, you're going to take a lot of head hits, because they're going to really let you, you're going to have to scrimmage to see how the live fire you respond. Again, head hits. Big Ten football, head hits. Running backs. NFL, 10 years. They probably got all his head hits in the NFL. NFL films everything. I guarantee somebody could go back, and if they broke down Barber's career, could show all the times he had head hits. And someone's got his medical records if he's ever had concussions. And you can't tell me you played football without getting concussions. The first concussion I got, I stood up. And when I stood up, a dude's helmet hit my knee. Dude's knee hit me in the head. It was just a perfect, when I stood up, He just ran into me and his knee hit me right here. It was the first time I had been knocked out in a game. But he just caught me. I was standing up and his knee just hit me and he knocked me over. Well, that was the first time I had a concussion. I kept playing. Shit, now I told you the story before. One of my best plays in college. Linebacker missed. I'm running. I'm around the 1 or 2 yard line, and both safety and linebacker, both safeties or safety DBs hit me, head hit. And somewhere around the 1, I fell out. I mean, they tackled me. Got up, stood up, walked in the end zone, and just stood there, knocked out on my feet. Knocked out on my feet. It was like I stood there for so long they had to stop the game because I just stood there on the sideline, just stood there. And they stopped the game because people was realizing I wasn't moving. I was just standing there. And I was literally standing up, knocked out. Looking in the crowd, knocked out. And somebody grabbed my arm and said, follow me. And then they put sauce in my face. We scored. Stayed out, until the team played defense, and then went right back in. I think I caught a pass or two after having a concussion. So I like to change. Flower doesn't blossom without change. We are all supposed to change or evolve our ideas. It's a natural process to this thing. That's a good point. That's a good point. Productive contents comes from productive life. That is it. That is it. That is it. And understand that sometimes you can put positive things around and it creates a negative thing, but it's good that you expose the negative thing now instead of letting it fester. Because some things, the longer you let them fester, how do I want to say this? The longer they can be, the longer the thing can pester you. So if you find a way to put a vibration out to make it show itself, and once it shows itself, then it's easy because you're like, aha, you're really ugly, aren't you? You're really ugly, aren't you? But absolutely. And that's why, the thing of the flower dying just doesn't die. It just can't hold that shape anymore. The essence still stays there because the essence never dies. The essence of the flower is there. Did y'all check this out? Did you guys see tonight they found the biggest single organism on this planet in Australia? And it is literally this grass that occupies the size of Manhattan. So this thing is enormous. It is one single blade of grass that learned how to clone itself. All of this grass field is the one thing. It is in the ocean. It's ocean grass the size of Manhattan. The way this thing, and I guess it got, storms harmed it. It's like there's a tree. Let me get this right. What state? I want to say Utah. There's a tree in Utah that is something like 2,000 acres worth of the same tree. This tree, like this grass, is the oldest single organism, the biggest single organism. This tree has reproduced itself on mountains. This single tree has reproduced itself on mountains. So this is the motion of the earth, is to reproduce yourself. Now, the key is, you're reproduced when you go into your spiritual self. You're reproduced. And that's another way that, you're born into this too. Death is a new beginning. It's not the final, it's the final of this. But to you, and I guess is the word salvation a word? Salvation, what is that? like to say, what does salvation mean to me? What does that mean to me? What does salvation mean to me? What does it mean? It means you're in a slump. You got to be salvaged. and you're not. Just be true to yourself. And every moment matters. And take every moment seriously. Can't take the moments off. So people forget. People want to take the moments off. Well, sometimes the world, you got to still understand every moment is the moment. And that sometime to acquire your goals, you got to look at these moments as being useful and serious. So you take advantage of them. Man, this Negro League shit is looking almost kind of like the Cardinals. Just the Cardinal. Creative. Wonder who the cat that designed this stuff. Now, a lot of these jerseys kind of look like they're double copied, you know, because the piping is the same in the other one, but not here. There's a picture of people dressed like this and all this stuff. So, and the Negro League showed, and the Negro Leagues could have been successful today. That's why Jackie Robinson ain't a hero. That's why the dude calling him Jackie Robinson, the dude knew what he meant. I'm sorry, I didn't know about that story when people was asking me, but that's the dude knew what he meant. Knows what Jackie Robinson ain't no compliment. I mean, it is the we call them agents now. Jackie was an agent. Agent of destruction. He wasn't sent to create something, to be at first in something. He was there to take away from something else. And what Jackie Robinson did, he took away from something that could have still been successful today. And now brothers ain't even interested. This was a sport that we not only we were so dominant in it, we were so dominant in it that we had our own league. How do we have our own, going from our own league? As I said before, Jet Ebony Magazine used to have brothers on every team in sports. They started doing that in the 60s, and they continued through the 70s and 80s. But don't you know, by the 80s, the 90s, there wasn't hardly no brothers playing baseball. It went from baseball was like sheet page after page after page to like one page of all the brothers playing. And at one point, we had leagues. And Negro League had minor leagues too. Listen to all their stories. Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, they was playing type of local baseball. Because if you didn't play local baseball, you wouldn't be noticed. So you was playing semi-pro baseball somewhere. And if you was good enough as a teenager, you could play semi-pro baseball with men. Hank Aaron was so good. Hank Aaron, like, okay, if you're right-handed hitting, you hold your hands like this, right? So if you bat right-handed, you have your hands like this. Hank Aaron hit cross-handed, which is backwards because no one had shown him the right way. He learned the wrong way, but he could cross-hand hit. It wasn't until he played in the Negro League with, I think, Birmingham, they taught him the proper way to hit. But when he first played pro baseball, he cross-hand. So he played all them local leagues cross-hand hitting and could hit cross-hand. Nobody had showed him the proper way to hit. So this is something that existed. Local heroes. As I said before, you know, we had a dude named Lonnie Baltimore out of Benton Harbor. First time I saw somebody 360 on somebody in a game. So I didn't need Dr. J. Like, shit. Dr. J did what? Lonnie 360'd on the baseline, and I saw it, and that was more incredible. What you telling me about some Dr. J? I can go see Lonnie play again next Tuesday night, and we'll probably do it again. Would it be beneficial to stop using oil, gas, cut-off entities that feed off it? Well, like a lot of cities are looking at, they were stupid to cut off the electrical cars. Like Battle Creek was one of them cities that had electrical cars. A lot of cities had electrical cars. And as they replaced electrical cars with buses, they really found out that in some ways those electrical cars were more efficient and just as quick of movers, you know. So even just the electric car itself, you know, GM made a car in the 90s that probably would have put the gas cars less now. Now this is the problem. This is the problem with electric cars. Just like now, you got cars that drive by themselves. Like Lincoln's cars since what, 18, 19? Navigators drive by themselves. You know, you guys heard me, the young native brother that is cool, my son, he got a 19 Navigator where you really only got to put one finger on it. Well, the other system is, as long as you look forward, you got to look engaged, and it'll drive without you staring. I don't remember the point why I'm bringing this up, but, well, I'm saying the technology of these cars have always been that. So, oh, but that's not the point I bring up. This is the problem they're going to have is, okay, like I was saying, if you have automated cars driving by themselves, automated cars, okay, you know, trucks, automated trucks and everything, but you still got people driving gas cars. How is that safe? How is that safe for the people driving gas cars? And that's the problem they're going to face, because everybody is not going to be able to afford electric cars. I mean, how many people can afford the electric car and put the electric outlet? That's why one of them is saying, you know, you buy the car, we'll put the outlet in your house. But how are you going to uplift the poor people and get them off of petroleum? And that goes the same way as saying you're going to have fully automated cars. How are you going to have that exist at the same time? Human-driven cars with computer-driven cars. That's disaster. There's no way they can operate at the same time. Not as the system moving, especially as the dominant thing. And who's to say that they wouldn't try to, you know, kill off by making that gas so expensive, even though they're sitting on it, it'll never go away. I listened to a dude from the 70s, or early 80s. I'll listen to his breakdown, and he broke down, we will never run out of gasoline. Not in this America, not in our life. It is that much out there. Natural gas, all that. It will never run out of it. So this story, they tell you the reserves, they like when they say they release gas from reserves, they release an hour worth. That's really what it's worth. That's what it breaks down to. Well, we're going to release some from the reserves. They release an hour worth or 3 hours worth. That's it. That's it. So it's nothing, and they got mountains of this stuff. You know, these people talk about these underground cities. What about the mountains worth of petroleum they have? Now that's, you can find that ain't never been a secret. They have mountains stored with petroleum. You ain't heard the military cry about gas and oil, did you? The military like, God damn, this gas is high, the motherfucker. Like, Captain, you know, like, you know, we go up here and these motherfuckers talk about this shit. You don't hear that, do you? You don't hear nobody on them big ships that America does complaining about gas. It ain't expensive to them, is it? When they stick them jets up there, oh, that's a little different. You know, that's not the same as what you put in your car. Comes from the same source. Comes from the same source. They always change laws to make a way. That they do. Oh shit, I'm rolling. All right. So this is the situation they're gonna have when, you know. So that's something to kind of monitor. So the gas thing is a joke, but I'm gonna pay it regardless. I'm gonna pay it. Y'all gonna pay it too. So it's nothing to even talk about. Shit, it's just like, okay, fuck it. Whatever it is. Food more, okay. Just make more. That's what it seems to be going towards. I mean, okay. You're saying this money's a little less, but if you're gonna let me make a lot of this little less money, that's the same kind of reward. Get it? You know, like Too Short said, keep getting it while the getting is good. That's all. All these kind of helps, these social programs still rolling. So, and if you work, they like that. So if you function and pay taxes, they like that. They see you buying shit, they like that. So you can talk all the shit you want, but you're doing these activities that they like. So that's the balance. That is the balance. You understand how this thing works. You can talk all the shit you want about it, but if you do other moves that is in tone with this thing says, well, okay, we'll give you a little break there. You seem to try to do everything else right. You know, where King sat there and said, I have no fear. You know, I have no fear. That was powerful. I mean, to come through the nation and say, I have no fear. That's life. I have no fear because I'm in control of every moment. I take every moment seriously. I don't take time off. I meant where there'll be a consequence from the entity itself that feeds. Ah, well, of course. Who do you think is fighting this? Who do you think wants to keep these cars going? Who do you think saying, okay, we'll keep them more efficient? So it's fighting back. That's what's fighting back. It's fighting back to preserve itself. I mean, the goal is to keep them rolling on the roads. That's the ultimate goal. Now, the greed and the gluttony is, yes, let me live off and breathe up this smog too. That's the gluttony of the thing. But the thing will be happy just to keep things rolling on the roads. So, but it's fighting back. It's fighting back. Because you see the argument now, you know, bring the Teslas in, bring all those kind of cars in, so it can't get the gluttony of the smog. It can't feed off it burnt up because it can't feed off it. This entity can't feed off it in its natural form. It has to have it burned off to feed off. It doesn't care if it's a nuclear reactor. It doesn't care how it's burned off. It just needs to be burned off and put in the atmosphere. Doesn't care. Now, its aim is to be driven over. That's the aim of the troll, is to feed off the energy of it driving over. So eventually, if it loses, I don't think it's going to lose because it's fighting. It's fighting, you know, because it likes the smog. So it's fighting. So that's the consequence. The fearless are the unstoppable. There you go. So it's fighting. That's why it's, you know, hey, you can get it any kind of way. You can frack it no matter what. You can still get this stuff. So it's fighting. Used cars is on its side, though. Older cars is on its side. As long as there are older cars, and there is an underclass, and that's the thing. As long as they keep it the underclass, they can't afford the more, you know. Like that's the thing. That's it. Is when would people be everybody at the same time being able to afford all that? So you're saying in 10 years, everybody's goal is to own a 10-year-old Tesla. That's going to be beneficial to people. In 10 years, everybody should be able to afford a 10-year-old Tesla. Is that the goal? Is that the aim? Because the Democrats really are on this. Is that what you're telling us? Are you saying in 20 years? In 20 years, everybody can afford at least a 10-year-old Tesla or a 10-year-old electric car? Will we be there then? In 20 years? I'll say still not even then. That's the problem. It's still so many mechanical cars. How are they going to go away? I mean, right now, the most expensive cars being sold at auctions are the cars from the 70s. Now, of course, a lot of those cars people don't drive, but I'm saying those cars are still useful, very useful. People love those type of cars. And they're driven all the time where the weather's nice all the time. Like even now down here, I saw a lady had one of the worst vets. You know, the vets years, the worst vets to never buy is like from 75, shit, from 75 to 2000s. Don't buy a vet. Them is mild vets. You can get other like Fords that make cars a little stronger, but them years of them kind of vets, them 80 vets, my stepdad had one, and it'd do 100 something, but it's again the way they were made, really cheaply made. Just it was paying all this money and you're getting something that don't look different than the GM shit. That was the argument of GM, and they were right. You get this vet, but yet you see this lever that you know is in a Sabre and shit, you know, and yet you got a vet. Like they tried to make a Cavalier out of a Cadillac and make people think it's a different car. I remember arguing with a guy, and I'm like, "You're wrong about this, old dude." He's like, "No, it's a Cadillac. It's a Cadillac. It's got a better." No, it is the Cavalier. It is the same car that is the Cavalier. Remember, GM used to make. They would have the Chevy version, which was the cheapest version of the box car. Then you would go into it was Chevy Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile was second. If you could afford a little nicer car, you could get an Oldsmobile. Now, if you couldn't afford a Cadillac, the next best thing was a Buick. So if you had a deuce and a quarter, you had a nice car. Deuce and a quarter is an Electra 225. That's what the deuce and a quarter was called. So if you couldn't have a Cadillac version, you had the deuce and a quarter because the Buick was right under Cadillac. And where Ford was the cheap, then you went to Mercury, then you went to Lincoln. You know, Ford didn't have as many. The Mercury was supposed to be a little better than the Ford, and the Lincoln was better than both of them. But what happened with GM, and I wanted to make this point too, in Magic's TV show, you have the character that's playing Charles Tucker, and you have Magic's dad. And, you know, Magic's getting all these advertisements. He's back in Michigan. So, of course, you know, the car companies are hitting him. And Magic wants to sit with his dad. You know, his dad wants to sit with Magic because Magic's about to sign with Buick. And so they show him in a part, you know, at the party where the dad and Magic couldn't really talk. But the dad is trying to tell Magic that the brothers that's working in the factories are saying the quality of the cars ain't shit. You know, them some of them cars, them GM cars wasn't shit in the 80s and 90s. Some of them cars wasn't shit. Like they would always have a thing, and this is the thing. But there was people in the auto industry that lived in Michigan knew don't buy a car built on Monday and don't buy a car built on Friday because the people didn't give a shit. When they come back Monday, these people is half hungover, ain't really caring. Friday they about to get off, don't give a fuck. And so it was known. You could buy cars and know when they was built, but people knew to look, you know, and that touched into what Magic's father was trying to tell him, don't sign with Buick because they're making shitty cars. It's a shitty product. So that's a little gem that's put out there. So that's what they're faced with. So that's the consequences. It is fighting back. Eventually, remember the goal is to be driven over, and that ain't gonna go away. So how soon can we say everybody gonna be able to afford them cars? How soon is everybody going to be able to afford electricity? Because electricity, a lot of electricity still comes from coal. Now, yes, we do have a little nuclear electricity, but again, I think a lot of the nuclear electricity is derived from the coal electricity. So there's a nuclear plant near me. I live with, you know, one of my uncles. Now he might be retired now, but he worked at a nuclear plant. I think, you know, he retired from the nuclear plant in Michigan. I've told the story before. Back in the when I was in fifth grade, I think it was 72, 73. I saw a Dick Tracy watch, the watch with the TV in it. That's how long that shit was around. 1972 and 1973. They had a watch you could put a TV program in. As I said, in airbags, we were in the GM plant around the same time, 74, 75. We was sat in a car, and it was like almost a amusement ride. You sit in the car, and they would poof airbags on you. I was in 5th grade, so yeah, 72, 73, somewhere around there. And we didn't see them in the cars until the 90s, like 95, 94, 95, I think. All right, no, let's go back a little bit. It was, yeah, 92, 93. 92, 93. Because I know when I was in the police academy, I hadn't thought about this in a long time. When I was in the police academy, there was a case, because as I said, I've taken classes on accident reconstruction. And one of the cases that came before us was one of the early airbags went off, and there was a chemical that was released. It was a chemical that was released that made the driver pass out, if I remember the story right. And this was an early airbag, and this was something that we were trying to debate on how we would go about that. You know, where did he lose control? But it was like there was a chemical at one time that was still it was released to people. It was harmful. Now, remember, when that changed, but I remember that from the police academy. Tesla had the formula for free energy not used from raw material. Well, yeah, they say that comes, but it was already existing even before him. He came to a world already like that. He came from a world where they already had tapped into that, where individuals had tapped into that. I feel that kind of thing has always been around. And I think that individuals were able to, and really, if you look at a lot of what they want to call witchcraft and stuff, there's a thing where you see that witches was able to do two things: keep a candle burning all the time and keep a pot always cooking. So, what else can do that? That's a type of electricity that if you can keep a pot cooking forever. So these kind of things have always been around. So, I mean, damn, if a witch has figured out how to keep her kettle always hot and always had light, I mean, this stuff has been around for a long time. This ain't just, newer things. This thing's been around for a long time. I know brother Bomber was saying, Amber was away. Oh, wow. Okay. Guess you feel that, guess you feeling some kind of way. Well, that's nice. Well, it's not agreeing. I just think, Brother Bomber was saying again, it's something that existed though. It's something that existed before. So it was funny talking to my mother, like how even people existed in winter quarters. I read a story, and the story was I don't even want to mention the names of the characters, but it was people in Russia, and just saying how vividly reading this and explaining how a person had to get up when it's freezing, really freezing outside, but yet you got to go to the porta potty and use the bathroom. And I remember reading that and just the struggles of having to, because again, these people would survive on some people would survive on a wood stove in the middle of the house. It kept the middle of the house, and then you had blankets and shit. So if you had to go to the bathroom at night, you had to get up in that real cold. You'd go back in the main room and be warm, but your room, unless you're rich enough to have, fireplaces in every room, which a lot of people didn't have, you just had the central heating area, and you had to go outside when it's freezing and go to the bathroom. That's a hardship we don't have today. Yeah, see, I like this better because I can do it. If I ain't got a lot of moderators still watching, I can do it on this. They really fuck with you when you're on YouTube. They really try to hack that system. But it's allowed. Wasn't allowed. It couldn't exist if it wasn't allowed. And it's allowed. They do a lot of comments, but it's allowed. So we just moved through it. Oh, okay. 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm gonna see if I can go for 20 more minutes. I don't know if I can talk any more shit to go 20 more minutes. But it's interesting how people help you get your groove back. You know, people just help you be who you really are. And it's good to play you. I like playing me. Going back to Harry Potter, I believe there was local schools that taught this info. I think schools like were in many places. Well, researcher, I can't really disagree with that statement. Remember, they killed Pythagoras because he knew something. You know, he went through, apparently, he was taught in Kemet the same way, you know. So and they killed him. And so that we still speak his name today, there had to be something there. So, but that goes back to, you know, what I say about the time markers, when I say about the omic. I mean, all this, they definitely knew this time stuff. Not just, you know, the same thing, the angles, the math. I mean, it's all the part of the same thing. So was this information known? Yeah, of course. This higher information was known. But it just shows you him being involved in it, that he reached a certain point, and at some point they had to kill him. So he had broke through something that they wanted hidden. That's what they appeared to do the most, especially in Europe. You know, as people got, you know, like Socrates, like he was killed. Why? Why would these people that are supposed to, you know, again, they copied a lot of what Kemet had done, but why did he need to be killed? Why was he martyred? So it's a story to make you think that you can't be a higher thinker. That's what the Socrates story tells you. That there's being a higher thinker can be dangerous. But yes, yeah, so of course. I mean, the information, to say that the information was just pulled at one place, I know and experience different. As I said before, you know, them old men showing up in Kemet in the outfits that they wore, you know, dressed like the Jaguar and being able to transform and move around, and dealt with the Sumerians, dealt with the Kemetans, dealt with those areas too. And they're like looking at these people like, where did you guys come from? But teaching them pyramids, but not giving them all the information, teaching them upon them. Again, they did not share the sacred ball game with them at all. You see that they did share the idea of the hero twins, but you see what they did with it. They corrupted it. You know, it turns into Cain and Abel, hating your brother. But even what is it? The ones that made Rome, Ramus and Remus, are closer, a little bit closer, you know, to the hero twins than the Cain and Abel story where you fight your brother, you know. So they knew about most of this stuff they had to know, but they didn't give them the ball game. That's a completely American thing that they didn't really share. And that goes from the top of America back and forth. But that is something that wasn't really widely shared. For some reason, they shared the rest of it, but they held that. But they taught them about the hero twins. And so maybe, you know, you try to teach some motherfuckers some shit and they don't get it. Probably could have been that about the sacred ball game. They threw the ball at them, and you know how some people are. They're like, shit, what? You know, what? It wasn't nothing they could figure out. So they probably quit. It's like, they ain't getting this ball stuff. Man, I throw the ball to them and it just hits them all in the face. They're not going to get it. Well, put them all together and just see if they'll hand it off to each other. You get a group of them and put it together, and one will hold the ball, and you pass it to him, and he'll look at you and give it back to you. And then you look at the other side, and you pass it to the other side, and they pass it right back to you. So you find another position, and you pass it to one, and the same thing. They don't get it that you all should pass the ball around. They couldn't think like that. You'd be frustrated teacher. Be like, hey, these motherfuckers not gonna get it. They don't get this ball shit. Let's leave them. Imagine being the, you know, the holder of the ball game, then be like, hey, these mugs don't get it. Well, you know, you're supposed to, as a civilization builder, you're supposed to teach in the ball game. I've been here for thousands of years and they ain't got it yet. They not gonna get it. They don't get this ball stuff. We done gave them the pyramids and a little bit of the time. Let's let them be good. We done taught them how to grow shit, so let's let them be good. They're not going to get the rest of the stuff. Give it to them slowly. The Black Jaguar Priest, the original master teachers of the sacred ball game. There you go. So that's some of it had to be kind of like that. They got fed up and like, hey, they ain't gonna get it. They ain't gonna get it. So why waste our time on it? That's why, you know, like even this picture that's above me, this picture, they try to, you know, throw that space stuff, you know, it's got to be a picture from space, you know, they made a 3D creation. Come on, get out of here. What it is Europeans can't explain it. It had to come from space, or Europeans didn't invent it. It had to come from space. That's what we see. So if they didn't invent it, it had to come from somewhere else. Oh my goodness, I am funky tonight. I'm feeling it. Right on, right on. It's a beautiful night. It's time of June, the June boys. You know, I'll turn 61, they say. And it's beautiful. And so I like being, how can I put this? I like being the way I like to be most of the time. I do. I mean, I've taken breaks, but the way I really like to be, I like being that. And maybe I'm an older version of that, but I like being that. And when I'm need to play that, I like playing that. It's teaching these analytic heads that you have to watch the game to understand it. That's a good point. Guides. I think, you know, I really think my grandfather was probably a guide too. My great grandfather for sure. Both my grandfathers probably were type of, I know my father's side, a lot of the South America stuff had to come through my father's side. I can't see any other way it was brought in. I just haven't figured any other way. So that had to come in from my father's side. But I've told the story, you know, the first time I really seriously left my body was like a just straight shoot up into the ethers, you know, and being rescued. I mean, really seriously being in the ethers, just like, what the fuck is this? I mean, it really was like that. I'm like, 1 minute I'm just sitting there, and the next minute I'm just like, I saw it all just go up. I mean, it's almost like, you know, the elevator lights, and I'm like, just went up. And I'm just like in nothingness. And I'm just like, really? Whoa. And then something that you'll see is out of nowhere, I just saw something moving. And as it got closer, 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 and then the next thing I know, I'm inside of it. And it was Moo. This was something that she put together to rescue me, quite frankly. All females definitely rescued me. And I'll say that again, it was all females, but it was the head female too. And I mean, really, the experience, couldn't say it lasted longer than a couple microseconds, but it was like the world of acceleration of my mind, just experiencing that. And you know, even shit, 40 years later, still tried to, but seeing that, you know, as I progressed, it progressed with me, you know, so yeah, I was like 18, 19, maybe no, I had to be older. Yeah, I had to be like 22, 23. Yeah, 22, 23. And not really activated other than small ways, but not really activated again. So that had to be like 82, 83, but really not activated totally again until probably 04, 05. Yeah, 04, 05 was another activation. Yeah. But in between then, like my grandfather, my father's father passed me the magic. It was like I've said before, crazy time with my grandfather. My grandfather, you know, he was born and raised in Mississippi. And again, being in the woods where you had to practice the magic at night because of, you know, the atmosphere of Mississippi in the 20s and 30s. You know, this stuff wasn't practiced out in the open. This stuff was been practiced where you away from everybody. And obviously he had some of this practice that came. And this practice, again, I can't find any other way that the Mayan or Olmec would have touched this other than, and this is kind of something that they sent in that people still were touching upon. And he had some of this. And I sat down with him in 80 or 81. It was the funniest shit. It's like my cousin and his friend, my cousin was fucking freebasing. It was the first time I ever saw freebase. And then after that, it was like it was like I went and kicked it with my grandfather. And then after kicking with him, I went and kicked it with these other dudes and they're fucking freebasing. And I mean freebasing, not crack, freebasing. It was the oddest kind of like thing. It was like, okay, you got the spiritual path here and the dope head path here at the same time, you know. Back when this shit was new, because again, this was 80, 81. But we had a guy that was Kevin Loder was playing in the NBA. And Bob was living out there in Kansas City when they were still in Kansas City. You know, Kevin was getting high by then and in the league, and you know, Bob was living with him. So, you know, Kevin was making stupid money, and Bob was just getting high. Freebasing getting high, not just crack getting high, freebasing getting high. Because he was living with Kevin. But, so, that's when probably call him. That's funny, PJ. Call him. I don't know. You know, I know Christina. You know, Christina sells the juries and stuff. I think she uses that. I don't really like even like. I guess if there's any kind of things that I've ever called was these sisters. I was really trying to use this energy for a couple of weeks. Was trying to use the Tsar energy. It's like, you know, let's kind of, you know, get practice with this so I can use this stuff when I need it. And that is like that. I've called that. Now, I'll say this, you know, I'm a wind spirit and I've been into storms. Like I came back from an ice storm and it was like at one point I had to pass this trucker. It was going to keep throwing ice on me and it just wasn't going to be safe. I was going to really pull off. And I'm like, I live this stuff every day with the elements. And I've said this before, but it's like really at that time, I'm like, I live this every day with these elements. And right now, the elements are working against me a little bit. So I need a little bit of grounding and I need a little bit of rush to get by this. So I practice this every day. So this should work with me. So I guess, you know, I do call on the elements like that. But now I don't pray every day. And I'll say this about praying. If it becomes an obligation, then it's not real. It's not real. If you feel you're being penalized for not praying, it ain't real. So don't get caught into that. But praying is a way of calling on that as well. But I wanted to put that in there. Don't get caught into if you don't pray something, it got nothing to do with that. Praying is at your own. It is at your own when you want to do it. Now, I understand what the Muslims do. That's to keep that kind of regimented state of mind. That is what the Muslims do. They want you to have a regimented state of mind of your call to God at just these given times. And it's like you don't think, you just give your energy to that during these given times. That's blind belief again. You know, blind belief. Praying shouldn't be like that. So it's definitely, you want guides when you need them, but if you pray at all, and the times you pray, that should be part of your prayer. Like Mu is something that when I pray, that I give thanks to that, because I really, I say, um, when I give thanks to the feminine and the masculine energies, the thing is, I'm also born out of Mu. And so there's a place that she has put herself for me to not only be born out of her, but to really go and, just kind of like get love. So that's every prayer, and I don't necessarily pray every day. Some days I do, but that is something that, when I do pray, that is something that I do add. So, yeah. So however, it's a need. Like if you feel you need the guides at certain times, you can have a routine and bring it in like that. You just have to get patient and just see, because a lot of times you want to bring it in and it seems like it's not coming in. And then maybe it'll come in at a time where you're kind of busy. But even if you're busy, if you just accept it, even if it's a glimpse of it, it's like, okay, it came in now. Acknowledge it, you know, acknowledge when it came in. Because a lot of times if it just, you don't recognize it, then you're not going to benefit it. Because again, it wants to see how you think that you can still, so if you do call on it, again, it might not come in when you expect it to come in. But you do it enough and you make the connection. And that's the other part, that you make the connection with the guides. Because if it never starts, then what are you trying to plug into? So you have to make sure it's a real connection, because it's a lot of things that can mislead you. Mm. I don't even know if I should have said that, but yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. That's a realness. It's not hard to be misled, because the negative will answer questions. You can answer these questions, the negative will come back with the questions too. So I don't think that it's just the positive that can come in. The negative will come in and like, hey, you got this question? Yeah, this is the answer. You can bring that information too. Negative can make you feel good. Like I said, the demons can do good work. That's my phrase. Demons can definitely do good work. They can't just come in and kick you in your ass. I mean, how many people are gonna believe in something that every time you're like, hey, they just kick you in your ass? People ain't gonna believe in that. Be dazzled. Yeah. Is the past, present, and future existing all at once? Well, most of the time it does. The problem is it's all trying to exist on the same spot. Yeah. They try to use all of it for the same spot. And that's somewhat illusionary, because, again, time should be aligned once it's counted. It can go any way, but once it's counted, it's moving. As it moves, just as I'm moving here, this right here is here. What's up here is here. But they're telling you here is all the same. Let me get it right. They're telling you here is all the same. So it's not really here. It's like here. All this is layered on top of each other and moving. Could be that's, if I was a creator, that's a mighty sloppy way to do things. To only use one substance and then just pile the substance on top of each other as creation, that doesn't make a lot of sense. It shows I can't expand. It shows I'm limited in my abilities as a creator. If I've got to use the same space to keep creating the future of this thing I've created, shows I'm limited as a creator. So I don't know. I think think we all come from so many different energies of so many different type of beings in some way, be wherever we came from, that whatever decision we made to agree to come here, there's a collective that do meet up, and we have some type of resistance or different ideas. And I guess we all hope, and I guess I'll use more the hope, or we all try to think that this cooperation of like minds will free us in some ways. I guess that's the best way to say it. Will free us in some ways. I don't know any other way I can say it. So to answer your question, I mean, that's how it's proposed. But like I talk about, and I bring in Fringe all the time, you would always have a dimensional drift. You'd always have a dimensional kind of. Now, we only normally see that on battlefields. Like I was talking about Gettysburg, where you see the shit that feeds off that kind of shit. And this type of death, when they have this type of death in certain places, that death never leaves. That shit just stays there. That's why they can only make that what that is. It can't be used for anything else. They know that if they try to put a lot of shit there, people can't live around that shit. There was one in Greensboro, Revolutionary War Park. Now, you thinking they trying to let people live around that park? Where all these Europeans got killed? They don't mind where Indians got killed. Around here, they've killed Indians, and people live over the Indians' places. Natives. So, phantoms, yeah. Remember we had this story about the phantoms. Phantoms tend to be seen in history after large battles. You have these beings that are taught phantoms that feed off of this death. They clean up that stuff, but they feed off that. I haven't done a long show in a long time. No past is your memories. No past is your memories. Your future is your imagination. The only thing that can truly exist is the present. Nothing else is reality. No, it's the moment is all you got. It's the moment. When you die, it's a moment. Believe me, it's a moment that some people, keep living over and over again. Well, I gotta, like it's the TV show, the chick that was on Saturday Night Live last weekend. She has a TV show. She played in American Pie, where she keeps dying over and over again and trying to figure out how to change it. It's that kind of thing, You get caught in that. Like, well, what can I do different? You can get caught in that kind of trap. That's a trap. Fuck that. It played out how it played out. I don't want nothing different. Let's move on. I get with you. Hey, don't you want to do it again? That shit was fun. Figure it out a little better and you get a few more minutes. No, I'm good. See you later. That's what the lighters say. Light, play some more, Be Casper the Ghost, boo-hooing around here and shit, It's all about being around here. Like this ain't just it. It ain't just this. It is other stuff than this. Talk to people that really meditate a lot and what people say. You can hit a place where you don't even want to come back. You can hit a place, the shit, it's a breakthrough that you break through, and it's just the bluest of the blue. And I can't even say it has a sun. It's just like the bluest of the blue, but lit up. Everything is like clearer than you could ever imagine clear. And I can't hold this for a long time, but it's like sometime that comes in, and it's like when you're there, you don't want to be nowhere else. You don't want to come back, because it's like when I hold it, I'm like, golly, I'm through. And I'm like really looking at this, and I'm like, it don't stay long. I can't hold it long. But it's like there's nothing that can explain that. Now there's other realms I have access to, but when I'm there and push through that, I'm like, damn, I forget about this. I can't do it enough. But it's like sometimes that opens up. And so, however, you can keep that open, because I see it, it closes. It's like it'll open up and then it'll close. It'll close too. It's like, oh shit. Well, other shit, it just be in it, you know. You just be in it. You like, oh shit, what is this? Okay. It's different kind of architecture. That's why I talk about fractals so much. You know, you see fractals, you see these things. Whatever, where you are, you should be seeing fractals that are objects, like buildings, arches, whatever the fuck. You should be seeing that. That exists. And it ain't the type of solid buildings we see, but it is architecture that you still see. That definitely exists. Can dreams foretelling? Sometimes. Kind of what I'm experiencing a little bit now. Some dreams can tell you what not to do. Some dreams can show you instances, and then as you go over the instances, you're like, okay, I know what not to do. If I'm faced with that, then I know what not to do. I know what not to do. So dreams can be that, but don't get locked into every dream means something. The best thing to do really is have a dream book. Have really a book. As soon as you get done dreaming, you know, when you wake up, write it down. That's a great ledger, and you know, try to put that together. I just say don't get locked into thinking every dream has a meaning. Not necessarily. So that'd be my only thing. Is saying don't make it every instance. Like some instances, yes, but not every instance. So don't get locked into that being the only thing you rely on, I guess is what I'm saying. Yep, the moment is all you have, but your present self is also the future version of your past, younger self. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, that's pretty well said. Yeah. Because it's like I've been interpreting the dream and I see like the mistake I made in the dream. I won't make the mistake. I'm like, okay, it's telling me right now to be this way, be this way. So I'm like, shit. Okay, yeah. Because, yeah, one of my dreams has come recently and I know not what to do. I'm like, I know the mistake I made. And I'm like, okay, just don't make that mistake. Be about it. And that's what it is. It's like, be about it. Be about it. Well, I'm going to have to cut it short because I think I got to piss. I don't think I got to piss. Drink this last beer. But, and I was a faking motherfucker last night. I'll say that. Because I wasn't really sure on the divination date, but I was right. I was right. So I know I'm right on this date too. They say faking the funk. Not really faking it. But I wasn't positive. But I was right. So didn't fake the funk. Because words are positive no matter what. They're not a negative thing. So whatever I put into it, you know, it's still positive. Maybe I'll change up a little bit. So the card is Chechen. And Chechen, the energy should be from the west. This is a water element. And being a water element, okay. So the main quality is pretty much saying is being spontaneous. Humor, artist, joking, disrupting the energy, changing the energy. The childlike kind of fun, going in things with a childlike interest. And the problem, if you're under the thumb of this, would be if you're too serious, You have problems with issues of speaking truth. Um, you don't know how to use humor, sarcasm. You're using it, but it's not effective or it has no meaning. But the way to break out of that is, not be so serious. Don't try so hard. Um, be direct about your words. Be direct. I'm serious. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Sensitive. Open your heart. Accept things ain't always gonna be smooth. That's what it is. And you take them and you just like I say, you got to blow that shit out. Um, and just whatever wounds you had, heal them. Heal the wounds. And the wisdom is humor. Um, the mantra is smile with your hands on your heart. Just smile with your hands on your heart. So you're pretty much just smiling like this while saying the words, I am the crystallization of sunlight and laughter. I am the crystallization of source and laughter. I am innocent, open-hearted, transparent, divine child. I don't know if the divine child, I understand innocence is what they try to hint at. But so I think I've yeah. Oh, I did want to talk about one more thing. Okay. I'm always harping about these foreign-born players. They made a movie about a foreign-born player, and it's called Hustle. And of course, we have the Jewish faith, Adam Sandler, playing the handler. And we have the dude who plays for the Utah Jazz playing his main foreign-born star. They are putting it in your face how they push these guys to be good as the American-born players. They're putting it in your face. And they're putting Rocky in the rest of their people's mind. That's what this movie is. It's the basketball Rocky. I got it on wax first. They've given you the basketball Rocky. They've been showing them winning championships in San Antonio and Dallas. Now they're making the Rocky version. Damn. That's deep. And I came up with that like right on the spot about the Rocky. Damn, I got to give myself. That was just the basketball version of Rocky is what they're showing you in the movie Hustle. So I still want to go see the movie about the Jets, Top Gun. That shit seems fun. You're welcome. Where's the old one? I gotta write it again. I found one of my 2017 from Facebook. So some of the words, it's a little different. It all starts, Mora, everyone. It all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland, and they knew that they had exact number of years and days before they disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would bloom to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, which is our Milky Way. And as the mind would say, I am another yourself. So be the eyes of Laura Marsh, be able to look out of another eyes, have a different opinion of the thing. See the thing from the full 360. I am another yourself. So treat people like they're yourself. Rest well in your creation ball field, which they tricked you into thinking it's a bed, it's a casket. It is something for you to move through the ethers in. So rest well in your sacred ball field. And may you be protected because you put the things around you to be protected. Those of you that have to work, may you be safe from the rest of your time working. May it go smooth. May you travel home safely. And may you rest the way you need to rest. And, remember, love just is. Love just is. It just is. It's nothing else. Love just is. And in closing, remember, the days are long, but the years are short. So, well, this has been your boy for over 3 hours. Did a little marathon tonight. 3 hour show. I haven't done this in a while. So, philosophizing. So, thank you for the ones that hung in there. Thank you. And this is your guy, Big Pontiac. Definitely be on tomorrow night, midnight. Till we meet again, say less.